Hello, YouTube!
We made it!
Welcome to Reasonable Pandemonium.
Better late than never. Right?
We are here.
Welcome back, or welcome to our channel. This is Reasonable Pandemonium. We're doing our live Improv Dub of Ace Attorney Investigations Collection, where we play through both games in Ace Attorney Investigations Collection and voice every single character in the game. Except for Max.
We don't talk about
voice
his voice.
Max.
It's too iconic.
Yeah, we can't do it. I'm Kellen Z. With me are Zimic.
Hey, that's me!
And I'm Mateus.
Ayo!
Woo! Today's a good day. We're jumping right into this. Ladder Investigating the Fountain Room Part 2. Just a heads up, this stream will be ending early today. We have stuff going on tonight. So we'll be ending at 2:45 p.m. at CDT, or when we finish this chapter. And I think
whichever one is shorter.
I think that should be roughly the same time frame. I think that this chapter should take about that same amount of time.
We thought hard about it. It should be around
really
the same
hard.
time.
If Zimic's guesstimations are accurate. Logic.
Better cover the house. An ultimate cookbook for Tangrowth's sake. The ultimate cookbook contains instructions for creating poison gas.
There's a connection between the two.
Let's do it.
The ultimate cookbook of Marx.
Oh my gosh, I forgot that's what it was.
Gas? Who would have expected that? That's crazy.
It contains
Wow.
the ancient power instructions to evolve your Tangela into Tangrowth. That's how it
The
works.
ultimate cookbook contained instructions on how to create the poison gas. And the current owner of that book is none other than Miss Judy Bound.
No way! You can't mean...
I'm afraid I do. Miss Bound would have been perfectly capable of setting up the gas trap. Finally, we can prove that she's been lying to us. Oh man, I never came up with another voice for her. Alright.
No, you didn't.
Oh, we don't talk to her. Okay, I thought that's what he was implying. Cool. What do we have left?
I mean, is it check marks?
Yeah.
Huh,
So that was...
You would think that would mean you didn't gain a new option.
It'd be a shame if you had to put the game down for like a week or two and then come back to it. It's a sculpture of a brave warrior battling against a serpent. Did Paul Halik make this one too, Mr. Edgeworth?
He did. It seems he was fascinated by fantasy and mythology and snakes when he was a young man. This piece embodies the tragic yet gritty determination of the young as they face a snake. It's called the Snake Test.
The Danger Noodle Test! Talk about relatable. Statues of a man and woman in old-timey clothes. Do you think Paul Halik made these ones too?
Yes, you can tell because of the way the abs are sculpted. His wife pushed him to sculpt them
Ah!
in much definition. The title is The Beautiful Goddess Venus and Her Amazing Servant.
Wow! Talk about putting your goddess on a literal pedestal next to abs!
That got sketchy real quick.
It's a selection of trophies won by Paul Halik, or rather, Artie Frost. Evidently, he was a very well-respected artist.
Well, you've got one too, Mr. Edgeworth. So it's about time I won one too. Guess I'll have to find some thieving contest to enter. Or, you could set up a treasure hunt for me! Something nice with a big ceremony at the end for when I win.
Yes, followed by a swift round of arresting.
That'll be the day.
I'm going to set up an illegal treasure hunt for you, Kay.
Score!
Yep, nothing there.
You just have to present the findings of the book.
What kind of pharmaceutical recipes are in the ultimate cookbook? Oh, there's so many. It would take a while to go through them all. But if you really want to know, well, let's start the show. Come join me as we sing this song. It's a nifty, thrifty 2 hours long. Now, one by one, we'll sing the things that the world's best little cookbook brings.
Mr. Edgeworth, I think she's a little tone deaf today.
No, it won't be necessary, Miss Seuss. Alright.
Shout out to Artificial Elements for posting some stuff in the Theories channel.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive, man.
That
Crazy.
channel has been inactive for quite a while.
This thing in front of the door is a fir tree, right?
Yes, they're usually associated with winter, but this door leads to the autumn wing. I suppose it's all part of someone's elaborate ruse.
I could paint it red for that communist feel.
Evergreens stay green all year round, Kay. Hence the name.
Oh, yeah. You saying Christmas trees aren't communist?
Not in the Soviet Union.
The door here is marked with a nice autumn-y look tree.
And yet it leads to the winter wing. I suppose it's all part of the deception.
Smoke and mirrors! I could steal the leaves if you want me to, make things a little more wintry.
I think you'd better leave them alone, Kay.
I don't get it, Mr. Edgeworth.
I don't know, there's nothing to get. I don't know what you're talking about.
Why'd you say the word leaf so weirdly then?
I just talk that way. Why is there a lift cart just sitting here out in the open?
Wow, I guess somebody must have been moving something heavy, and they needed a lift.
The
This
top
is
of
what
the
we were
platform
supposed to talk to?
Seems to be wet.
You know, I got a funny feeling I've seen this thing somewhere before.
You mean like 18 years ago?
Oh, it's all coming back to me now. Going into a trance, I saw it all in Frost's room. He must have used it to move the ice sculptures around. It's one of them fancy numbers where you can change not only the height, but the angle and the elevation. If you had one of these, you could move giant lumps of ice around, no sweat.
We got a lift cart.
Woo! Wow! Ooh, just think of the possibilities. I could really use one of these.
For what?
Still doesn't explain what it's doing here, though. Bit of a head scratcher. What should we give it a think, though?
Indeed, after all, it just might have something to do with our case. Go ahead, think.
Ow! Did you hear something? Thought I heard the sound of a gumshoe trying to do a think.
Alright, we didn't get any more evidence.
Those are tulips by the door, right, Mr. Edgeworth?
Yes, it leads to the spring wing.
Ah, spring. Such a popular time. That makes it open season for great thieves.
Housebreaking is a little beneath a great thief, wouldn't you say?
I guess you're right.
Okay.
Glad we had this talk. Wow, they put sunflowers by the door. Isn't that sweet?
A fitting adornment for the entrance to the summer wing, I suppose.
Summer. It's also beach time! Every great thief knows that you have to have a beach episode.
Beach pocketing, Kay? Isn't that a little beneath a great thief?
You think it'd be rather easy, but bathing suits don't have pockets, which makes it all the more impressive when I do it.
Kay, where are you grabbing the wallets from?
Trainer
know,
secret.
I'm done with this conversation.
Stop following me.
It's a man with a moon-shaped head and a woman with a cactus-shaped
That
head.
is not what we're looking at.
Oh, what are you looking at? Wow, the
Looking
man's
at
got a...
two swirly balls.
Mr. Edgeworth. Why are we here again? Is this another one of Paul Halik's pieces?
Yes, from his younger years when he was something of a dreamer. Back when he still had dreams. He depicted those closest to him by means of a motif taken from nature. The piece is titled Parents.
Wow, I guess he didn't really have parents to base the sculptures off of, did he?
This is what my parents would look like.
An audiobook.
I miss your wife.
I too miss my wife. Okay, what else is there to look at?
Do we get more logic or something?
I think you just
No,
have to
it's
present it
blank.
to her.
I thought we
We've
did
already
present it to
did.
her.
There's nothing else here.
Did you talk to the last flowers?
Yes. We talked to this one. We talked to this one.
Yep, and we've definitely done the other two.
We did the other two. We've done all the trophies. We did all the statues over here and all the statues over here, and there's the labby up here and the
Did you
fountain
talk
over
to
here.
Kay?
What is it, Mr. Edgeworth?
Do you see anything? Because I don't see anything.
I see absolutely nothing. I did taste some ubiquitous in the tea, though. Seems like a nice way to hurt someone.
Don't judge a book by its cover, Kay. That tea was delicious. Though I too have my doubts. I should talk to Blender and Miss Scone and see what they have to say on the matter. Alright, are we supposed to present the tea? That wasn't the right button.
Let's.
Spill the tea.
No! Oh, shoot.
Oh no.
There's nothing on the tea here. Wait, oh, it's this. We present
What's the tea?
this. She was pushing candies.
Ah.
Oh my! Is that me? Yes, it was painted by the so-called artist over there. It's wonderfully drawn. Would you mind if I kept it? I'm sorry, Miss Bound. I'm afraid it's an important piece of evidence. Oh, I see. That's a shame. I suppose Larry's charm is something of a talent if he can impress a gallery owner with sketches like this.
The ultimate cookbook of marks.
We already presented that.
Oh, never mind then.
The teapot.
The hunt is on.
The truth will come out.
But I
Probably.
don't know what that's about. I guess
Sorry, I think
we're
my
going
brain exploded.
to find out. Have I inadvertently stumbled upon the set of Cake Crimes the musical or something?
She literally has a dialogue for like everything.
Uh,
They coded that into the game, and it doesn't do anything with anything.
I think that was her not relevant dialogue.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we present picture.
Sconies.
Oh, look at that! A picture of silly old me. That's right. Silly old you seems to have caught the artist's eye. You mean lovely Laurie Lumpkin? I'll have a word with him and say thanks. Well, I'll be glad to introduce you.
And there's the evil smirk.
What?
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 Oh, from Miles. There's Miles' evil smirk.
Why was that an evil smirk, though? I don't understand.
Because he's pawning Larry off onto someone else.
Oh. Maybe we present to him?
It's fire in a can. Quite the technology. Oh, I think I get it. You add 2 and 5 and you come up with the velocity of the sun. Isn't that great? You keep hold of this, you're gonna win a Nobel Prize for sure.
Quickly now back in her pocket. Why is he so patronizing?
He was patronized down from Miles' dad?
Eustace.
Oh, yeah. I'll be reporting your actions to the committee.
Do whatever. I don't care.
And we'll do the same! You're the self-styled great thief, correct? Mr. Edgeworth's association with such a character will be of interest to the committee, too.
I'm poking your
course.
shoulder, huh?
Go ahead, take your best shot!
It looks like Judge Gavel will have to think up some new threats if she wants to intimidate Kay. Alright, we can't present the art to her. I don't understand. What else is there to do here?
Ubiquium, asphyxium, combine the two.
I think we really need to think hard about this one.
I've been trying to. I don't know where we are in the story.
It says on the save screen. Save.
Ladder, investigating fountain room part 2.
Okay, that doesn't help.
Oh.
I think I'm almost here. I think I'm almost to it. So we finished up the flashback.
Yeah.
Eddie, remember the case ending differently than what the official ending was.
Leave me alone.
Eddie gives us evidence from the ISIS files, the Ultimate Cookbook of Marks, frame finger marks. Okay, so we get the evidence dump. Now we're investigating Zodiac Hall. Have you examined the crescent-shaped crescent-shaped teapot already?
Yes.
And we've examined the stain on the ground. Yeah, we did that.
Okay. This is
Okay,
it.
that's it. All right.
Could this be related to the
We got
evidence?
it. We have to drop a deduce.
We're dropping a solid deduce right here. What are we deducing?
This isn't the deduce page, is it?
It is. We gotta pick what we're deducing here.
Well,
I think
the
we're
little
deducing the
canister.
art. I think we're deducing that this is different.
Oh, it's not the same stuff?
Yeah.
Wow.
Larry, could I ask you something about your sketches?
Oh, fascinated by the work of the great Larry Dunham, huh? It's the composition, right?
Not exactly. This light blue tablecloth, you painted that exactly as you saw it, correct?
I already told you. Everything is exactly as I saw it.
But the tablecloth on the card here is this room. In the room is white.
Okay, so it might be a little bit colorblind. Your head's so full of crazy theories, the simple stuff just passes you right by, huh?
What's that look for?
Listen, just before I draw this sketch, I was in the middle of some business with the cards, with the tea sets on it, okay? What kind of business? That's right! I was tonguing the foyer.
No.
It was white.
I accidentally smashed the teapot, and so I had to clean up all of the tea that was spilled.
With my tongue.
I was still in the middle of cleaning it all up when Jody came out of the winter wing. I didn't want to get busted for breaking the pot, so I quickly dove out of sight. I still have a couple of shards from the teapot stuck in my tongue.
It really hurts.
Candy! Wait, Miss Bound came out of the winter wing.
Yeah, I was pushing a carriage too, but a different one at that. That's the one with the light blue tablecloth on it that I drew.
Candy. And what did she do with the second serving cart?
Did someone say candy?
Well, I saw her wheel it into the summer wing. I don't know what happened to it after that, though. When she came back out, she was pushing one of those other carts. The kind you can lift stuff with.
A lift cart.
Oh, yes, a lift cart. That's the one. That's what they call it. So I called out to her, but she just ran off and left it behind. Never had her down as the shy type, but it just goes to show some people you just don't know what they're gonna do.
Another serving cart and a lift cart.
Is there maybe another tea set too?
We'd better check with Miss Bound.
Oh my gosh! Why were they giving us a check mark if there was still something to do there?
No.
What is this gameplay?
This is remastered. Remaster it completely.
Tell me about Lord of the Rings, the two carts.
There's been a second cart, sir.
Are there two serving carts here at the gallery, Miss Bound?
Yeah. Why do you ask?
A certain so-called artist showed us his sketch.
Oh, that's me.
I couldn't help but notice the color of the tablecloth. It's light blue.
Light blue? I'm afraid your friend must be mistaken. He's got to be colorblind. I only use white tablecloths. Freshly laundered and starched. He's white blind.
What do you mean, white? What? Like, the perfect wrinkle-free cart was... What?
He can't see white. That's the only answer. If I'd seen a blemish of blue on it, I would have replaced it.
Could the color of the tablecloth in the sketch simply be a mistake on Larry's part? Do you have any idea what you might have been doing when the sketch was drawn?
Let me see. I appear to be carrying out my usual duties.
I'd like to ask you a little more about your duties.
What?
Well, we did drop a deduce there earlier.
To clarify, I mean your work. What exactly were you doing when this sketch was drawn? Because from what I can see, your card doesn't have a tea set on it, does it?
I was delivering some chocolates to the investigating officers.
So your duty was chocolate.
Are you sure you're not colorblind? Ooh, chocolates! I love chocolates!
Well, there were a few left over, so here, have them. I made them myself. I hope you like them. They have Bible verses on the inside.
Whoo! Thanks, Miss Bound. What's this Bible verse say?
Well, why not? They're a little melted, but I suppose it's because they've been sitting around in her pocket.
Mr. Edgeworth, can you read my Bible verse to me?
Yes, of course. I forgot you can't read sometimes. It says, "When their substance is drained away, the peasantry will be afflicted by heavy exactions. Sun Tzu, The Art of War in the Bible." What?
Wow! Ha, I got the best one. And it's super sweet too. Oh, these are delicious.
I'm very glad to hear it.
They may not be the prettiest, or the tastiest, or the cleverest, but I'm grateful for them nonetheless.
But they are chocolate.
No one can take it away from it.
Perhaps they could do with less sugar. They are the sweetest.
You have to go out, right? Like, you have to go back and she has a different prompt or something, right? That's how this always works, right?
Prison this lift card. I heard it was in use 18 years ago, too.
That's right. It was in another room earlier until I brought it out here. It's very useful for moving large, heavy objects around.
But why is it wet? Was it used to carry something wet?
Why is it wet?
I hate soggy socks.
Guys,
Do you have any more logic?
I think I voiced the main villain again. We don't have more
Really?
logic.
You think so?
How does this happen every time?
I think it's gonna be the pudding drop girl. I guess you voiced her
I
too.
voiced her too!
I mean, I would say that you would have to, like, all the suspects. You're
there's
voicing
only two
literally
people
all
here.
the suspects that we have.
It
so.
just occurred to me. Why does this happen every... Like, I literally was back in the past. I didn't have a character, so I voiced some people, and every
Yep.
one of them is a bad guy.
Yup.
Oh.
Do we have any logic to look at?
No, we don't. It's in the top right corner. The puzzle pieces are grayed out. Who do we talk to? What is this?
So we just found chocolate. We
What
can
are
talk to
those?
the scone about the chocolate. I don't know what that would do though.
There's nothing more to be found here.
You can talk to Larry about the chocolate maybe.
Give Larry some chocolate. Oh, I forgot it's on page 3.
Oh ho! Those are Moody Jody's chocolates, aren't they? Oh, but dearie me, they're all a bit melted. You're supposed to eat them before that happens, you silly boy.
Actually, they were already like this when she gave them to us.
Maybe she was taken in by your sweet face, came all, excited, and then squished them and made them melty.
Okay? I will thank you to never speak again.
Yeah, I'm good with that too.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Oh, you're giving me chocolates. Don't mind if I do. Of course I received some earlier, so it's probably not good for me heart. But, you know, when she handed them over to me, my heart melted anyways. It's not like I was taking care of it that well to begin with.
Your heart melting is the idea here, Larry.
What are you talking about? You're kidding me, right? You couldn't possibly go in for another low blow against Larry Duxenham Butts.
Kill you now, why don't I?
You know what? I'm gonna come back on Valentine's Day. I'm gonna haunt every single happy couple because I'm lonely and miserable.
Mr. Edgeworth, he needs help.
Oh, he'll be fine. Much like melted chocolate, a hot head cools eventually. Also, I poisoned the chocolate. Even he won't be able to hold out until Valentine's Day with that chocolate.
This is only 3 pieces of cyanide chocolate. I ate 5 just the other day and I was fine.
I put 7 servings of X-Lax in there.
No wonder it looks like a teapot was spilt over on the left side of the screen. Ooh, Judy's special homemade chocolate delights. The sweetest treat a guy could hope to eat. You know what goes well with one of these, Miles-o? A nice, strong, extra piece of chocolate, that's what.
Is that so? I'll have to give it a try.
Chocolate goes with chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Chocolate. Delicious.
Did I ever tell you these are Samson's favorite? I hope they still bring him the same sweet comfort after everything he's been through. Who's Samson, by the way? I don't know.
Tangrowth.
It's been years since I heard that name.
Talk to the forensics guy by the fountain.
The body's been taken back to the lab, boss. Autopsy's underway.
How's the rest of the family?
Oh, the family's doing great, boss. The wife only died last week, and I'm just all alone now, so everything's going peachy.
It's almost like there wasn't a body floating in the fountain.
That wasn't what I was hoping for.
Do you mind, Mr. Wiener? You're in my way.
I do mind, actually. I'm not going anywhere. You'll just have to go around me, like the loser you are.
Well, we just thought you might want to move to a better spot, that's all.
What better spot? I demand you to show it to me at once.
See where that weird looking stain is? That's actually the best spot in the entire room.
Is that really all it takes to make you do whatever we want?
And Kay figured it out.
I don't know what to do here.
All right, so there's a whole lot of things to do, and I don't know which ones we've already done. So we have. So we're trying to identify the source of the ubiquium. Something about a minty fragrance. So we're supposed to examine the tea cart.
Yeah, it's that jar in the tea cart.
Now we add that. Now we add the crescent thing to the organizer. Then we are supposed to examine the stain on the ground where Eddie is standing, and we get it's a tea stain with a ceramic fragment.
We didn't do that.
We did that.
Then we talk to Larry to present the ceramic fragment.
We don't have the ceramic fragment.
We presented that to him last time. I can talk to it again, but we did that last time.
Oh.
No, that was the wrong thing.
It's Larry, not Eddie.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did that.
Anyways.
And we don't have it anymore because we presented it to him.
After we talk to Larry, we activate the "What are you hiding?" and the "Your sketches" dialogue options.
Yep.
And then we get his sketches and add that to our organizer.
And we have the sketches.
Then we examine the service cart and deduce Larry's sketches with the tablecloth color. You did that. No, the tea cart, not that one. We just did that one. Larry says that he broke it. Yada, yada, yada. Now that we've collected some logic, it's time to tie it up. Connected tea smells different to switch teapots. We get teapots leftover aroma, then we connect that to minty fragrance.
We don't have one of those.
I mean, this was logic we've connected already.
Okay.
So we think that maybe she was trying to, Judy was trying to hide the existence of the second pot. Then we talked to Judy. We talked to her about 2 carts. We talked to her about your work and get the chocolate. Then, let's see, then poison gas incident. She used her photos for 18 years ago to create frost sculptures, and she's hiding something. You need to prove it. Okay, so we've done that already. Then we're supposed to examine the fountain. The forensics officer reports that ubiquium and asphyxion were both detected in the water.
I think we have that evidence.
Yep. Gemini case analysis results, and we add it to the organizer. You should hear. Then we're supposed to talk to Scone and talk to her about gallery decorations, and then present the luminous cloth. And she's supposed to tell us more about it. Then making poison gas. Everyone knows that when you add the 2 ingredients together, you get the poison gas, as in the Ultimate Cookbook. Then luminous cloth. We're supposed to talk to her about the luminous cloth.
Again.
And no, last time we were supposed to present to her the luminous cloth. Now after we present it to her, we talk to her about it, and she says that it was floating in the fountain, and that the cloth is the one that vanished 18 years ago.
So present.
I could have sworn we presented this last time, but here we go. You had a piece of fabric like this in your bag, did you not, Miss Scone? Albeit a somewhat grimier one.
Grimy? How rude! You won't get people to cooperate with your little investigation like that, young man!
Shall I call it a dish towel then? Perhaps you used it to wipe up some sort of spillage.
A spillage, he says! The cheek! That's a piece of highly specialized luminous cloth! Oh, I probably shouldn't have told you that.
I think I'd like to know a little more about this highly specialized luminous cloth, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Oh my gosh.
Why don't you want me to know you had a piece of luminous cloth in your bag?
Oh, well, I suppose there's no point in hiding it now, is there? If you must know, I fished it out of the fountain. It was right before they called me into Autumn Wing.
So Larry's sketch of Miss Scone is of when she was trying to retrieve the cloth.
At first I thought it was one of the ones I'd given Moody Jody.
One of the 4 you'd given to the gallery, correct?
Exactly, but all 4 were being used in the Autumn Wing, weren't they? So I realised it must be the one that went missing all those years ago.
Doing?
I'd already had my infesticide ultra pinched and used to make poison gas. One of my clothes turned out to have been used in some sort of dastardly deed, too well. I was going to look guilty as sin, wasn't I? So I kept it hidden in the bag and hoped for the best, so it didn't become a new deadly sin.
I see. I don't know if that's how that works.
Oh, it does! I was going to become the 8th deadly sin. Scone!
Your sin is evolving.
It's good to get it off my chest, though. Stress is no good for the complexion. Whipped cream is, though.
So the cloth that disappeared 18 years ago, the one that the victim was wrapped in, just happens to reappear in the fountain at the same time as the body.
Yay.
Ah!
Oh my gosh!
And that's that. All that's left now is to await the results of the tests on the teapot. To be continued.
Wah, wah.
Sheesh!
Womp womp.
Shoosh. Everybody's here on the April the 2nd at 2:33 p.m. in the Zodiac Killer Hall.
I mean, I don't know. It could be Judy. Judy could be the murderer.
The test results have just come back in, boss. Traces of ubiquitin were definitely found in the teapot.
They were?
Just like Mr. Edgeworth said.
Ah, you! You better not think this means you beat the wiener.
Sorry.
What?
What,
Really
what's
need to
wrong?
drop this obsession with
Did-
coming in first, Mr. Wiener.
Did I say something funny?
We're all on the same side here, remember? We're all trying to get to the truth, and no, you didn't. You never
What?
have.
But first is best. Everyone knows it's better to be the wiener than the loser.
That's really no way for a prosecutor to think. Not a successful wiener, anyway.
Wow, but I, help me out.
Enough. Mr. Edgeworth, please refrain from taunting the boy. Ignore him, Eustace. He isn't worthy of your attention.
I'm the boy, the bestest boy that does the bestest things.
Yes, you are. You're the bestest boy.
The
of
bestest
course.
boy.
Why don't I take care of things from here on now, Eustace? Here, go play in the corner with this piece of string.
Oh, I wanted to buy Game Boy SP.
In the meantime, you can perform the far more important task of playing your Game Boy SP if you'd like.
Oh, yeah, good idea. I'll be right back.
He's not
not
going to be
coming
right
here.
back, is he?
Actually, now that we've gotten rid of the wiener, we'll be seeing you shortly.
Mr. Wiener is annoying, but totally harmless. Judge Gavel, on the other hand.
Now, Miss Bound, perhaps you could explain why traces of ubiquitin were found in your teapot.
I had no idea there was anything like that in there. Perhaps it's one of the ingredients in the dishwashing soap I use. Yeah, that makes sense.
You use dishwashing soap in your tea? Are you telling the court you did not intentionally put the ubiquium in the teapot?
Yes, exactly. I didn't do that.
So you did not do that.
I did not, don't do that.
Please append that to a testimony.
Until today, I had no idea that I could even make poison gas. It was such a surprise.
You're a trained actress, are you not, Miss Bound? I'd have thought you would be a more convincing liar.
What? What do you mean?
You have access to the Ultimate Cookbook, correct? A book that just happens to contain instructions on Marxism and how to create poison gas. Meaning it's perfectly possible for you to know exactly how to make it.
You're very well informed, Mr. Edgeworth.
Ms. Bound, is what Mr. Edgeworth said true?
The book does contain information on how to make poison gas and Marxism, yes. But the fact that I've seen it doesn't make me guilty. Can I ask exactly how the gas was triggered?
The victim used foil and a can to heat the lid of one of the display cases, therefore melting the ubiquium.
Yeah, that sounds like fun. I see. But he locked himself in the room too, didn't he? Surely that and the fact that he triggered it himself. Wouldn't it point to being a suicide attempt?
So she's not willing to admit to anything.
Furthermore, where would I have gotten hold of the Infesticide Ultra?
Oh, I don't know. Perhaps you stole it.
You know, I did bump into Moody Judy a week or so ago. And that very evening, I noticed my Infesticide Ultra had gone missing.
What picked it up for her?
It's her foot.
Judy, surely you didn't. Delicia, you carry your bag of pharmaceuticals with you everywhere, don't you? There would have been any number of opportunities for someone other than myself to steal it from you. You love to carry your pharmaceuticals.
I do love to do that.
That's true, and I don't have any hard evidence that it definitely was Miss Bound who stole it.
Judes, it's clearly something you're not telling us. Why don't you just come clean?
Hey, Judes.
Hey, Jude.
We all know you've never hurt nobody for some reason, so...
Not you two. You think I'm guilty as well, Mr. Fender?
How can I not? We've got one wing disguised as another, gas traps in the shadows to the left. You're the proprietor of this entire establishment. Kinda looks like you're the one who did it, kiddo.
You've got this all wrong. You have to remember the gallery doesn't have any security cameras, nor any security personnel. If some ill-intentioned person or other thing wanted to get in undetected,
I couldn't even charge them an entrance fee.
I don't think they'd have much of a problem.
Wow! You're practically asking me to steal from you! This is a great opportunity. I'll accept it.
Please do.
I don't think she's joking.
And actually, it seems that Mr. Gusto did, in fact, enter the gallery before it opened.
Sheesh. What's with that look? Judy's one tough cookie. She's not budging a single inch. Maybe it's time to rock a little technique Greg's taught me back in the day.
And what technique might that be?
Oh, it seems you already know. I'm gonna have to use that special technique. Since we're not getting anywhere by focusing only on the here and now, that special technique ought to approach this from the different angle that we need.
A turnabout in thinking, so my father used this method as well.
Alright, let's run this through the old Thinkatron. How was Jude's involved, and what happened back then?
Doing! According to Miss Bound, it was because of her that Mr. Frost's flavored ice sculptures melted. And yet, his sculptures are here on display at this very gallery today. Is it possible that she... Thank you, Fender. I think I know what I need to ask Miss Bound now.
That's just how I do what I do. Now, take it away, Milesy, because I have no idea what we're talking about.
I just say stuff.
Miss Bound, you say that you were the one who caused Mr. Frost's creations melt 18 years ago, correct?
Well, I mean, technically it was my cat, but yeah, it was overall my responsibility.
And yet, what you did allowed you to open this exhibit, no.
What do you mean?
Yes, what do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? Say it in the Commonwealth English, please. If you're gonna ask such questions, perhaps formal testimony from Ms. Bound might be best.
Yes, perhaps it might. I'd like to know a little more about Zodiac Hall. And about why Miss Bound decided to dedicate this space to Mr. Frost's works.
Very well. If you believe it to be relevant to the case, I guess I'll allow it. Miss Bound, would you mind?
Zimic, would you like to take over her voice?
Not really. I'm good.
Okay.
If you want me to, I can, but...
No, I mean, I don't mind. You don't have, like, any characters right now, and I have a lot of them.
I pretty much did a solo act in the past. I'm over this episode.
Okay.
Not at all. I'll do whatever it takes to prove that I'm innocent.
Then please, if you could give us some background on Zodiac Killer Hall and the pieces on display here, that would be most impressive.
So I'm a Capricorn.
No! It's not what we meant.
Zodiac Hall! Zodiac Hall!
That's it!
It's a Capricorn! Capricorn! Cancer!
I'm a Leo.
Libra!
Sagittarius. I can play this game too.
Are you Capricorn with the current calendar or the Greek calendar?
I'm Greek! It took 18 years, but at long last I was finally able to buy Samson's home back a little while ago. But a place like this is expensive to maintain, so I decided to turn it into an art gallery so I could pay my rent. To that end,
Less expensive.
I collected as many Paha League pieces as I could from around the world. But I didn't have money. I'll let you figure out how I did that. Because if I'm honest, and I'm not, it's always been something of a dream of mine to open a space dedicated to his work.
Thank you for your enlightening testimony, Miss Bound. How wonderful it is you were able to fulfill your dream of stealing. Well, Mr. Edgeworth, everything seems entirely above board to me.
Judge Gavo, that was her statement about stealing. Are you positive? As you know, the value of that testimony cannot be evaluated without due cross-examination.
Spoken like a true attorney. Very well. You may do what you must. And I will try, old friend.
Zodiacal!
Aquarius!
It took 18 years, but at long last I was finally able to buy Samson's home back a little while ago. Copernicus!
Because I'm a Libra. Why Copernicus?
Zebralius!
Galileo!
Are you saying we're not just shouting out random names? I thought that's what we were doing.
Oh, I love that one.
18 years. You must
Be
have-
quiet, Dobby. No one asked you.
Dobby will stop talking now.
Dobby is sad.
Dobby wants a sock.
18 years. You must have gone through a lot to buy it back, Miss Bound.
I suggest Bitcoin.
This home, this place, such memories abound. I couldn't stand to lose what I had found. I think I sang those. Samson, I did what I had to do to see that home was here waiting for you.
How did she make it look so easy?
I was
That's
hoping,
all I have to say.
I was really hoping he wasn't going to say anything and he was just going to clap and go back.
Yup.
If you could continue with your testimony, Miss Bound. Minus the singing, if you please.
Miles, you're clearly not hearing the same thing we are.
But a place like this is expensive to maintain, so I decided to turn it into an art gallery.
You've managed the gallery by yourself, Miss Bound.
Yeah, well, we only opened a day, so I haven't done much managing.
And things have gone wrong implicitly.
Already there's been a murder attempt, a body that wasn't related to the murder attempt, poison gas, and I don't even know what
terrorism.
And it all points to me.
It's gonna fall down around my ears. Samson could come home any day. He said he was planning to break out of prison.
And I put 3 mortgages on this place.
So she really got the house back for him.
Oh, I'm sorry, Judy, but you reap what you sow.
Oh, you've done plenty of sewing yourself, Mr. Fender. If anyone should have done more, it's you. Even if the only thing I could do right now is to keep this place safe for Samson.
Yes, he does like himself a nice little gas chamber room.
Very nice of
It
you.
wasn't supposed to be a gas chamber, I swear. The pipes just happened to all let out right there.
Isn't that what?
And they had a control panel in the next room. I don't know how that happened. To that end, I collected as many Paul Halik pieces as I could from around the world. As I said, I had no money, so again, you figure out how that happened.
Paul Halik, that was Mr. Frost's pseudonym, correct? A very expensive author.
That's the question you're gonna ask?
He adopted while he was working as a sculptor in France.
I see. So, because he was such a big name, you were able to start a fundraiser donation to collect the statues.
Yeah.
Fund me.
Yeah, that's what happened.
So how were you able to acquire the Taurus and Gemini sculptures specifically? It was
I'm
my
a Libra.
understanding that Mr. Frost died before he could complete them.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I created him myself. That's what happened.
Really? Perhaps you could go into more detail on that.
No.
I'm just Aquarius.
If I'm honest, it's always been something of a dream of mine to open a space dedicated to my work.
Wait, what?
You up
Tell me
Al
more about this
Halik?
dream of yours, Miss Bound.
Well, what I really wanted was to open a gallery. With Samson, of course.
Samson's dead.
A gallery of dance, a gallery of song, a gallery of gaiety and candy all day long. I don't know
some candy.
what that means. That was the idea anyway.
And here
I
I
think it's
thought
happiness.
art was to be appreciated in silence, not accompanied by musical numbers. Oh, so like, it's a version of the word like I'm gay happy, like that's what it means.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
I see. I've never seen that word before.
I thought it was like referring to like a horse's gait, like the way that it walks.
Yes, we all trot around in these halls. It's the
I
only
was
way
a
we
little
move about.
confused.
Alas, Mr. Tangrowth transgressed against the edicts of the goddess of justice.
The government. Oh, wait, I'm got a high score.
He frolicked
Go
instead
back
of
to your Game Boy SP.
pranced. And as such, that part of your dream may go permanently unfulfilled.
No, Samson he's innocent. That awful prosecutor refused to listen, but it's true. He'd never hurt anybody.
I think the prosecutor would hurt somebody.
Mr. Tangrowth gave a false confession in order to protect Miss Bound. The two of them really did what they could to protect one another, didn't they?
And then she went and had to go and kill somebody again.
I was able to create replicas from the Winter Wing based on photos of the sculptures he made.
The sculptures in the Winter Wing weren't replicas. They're the very ones from 18 years ago. I need to show her I'm aware of that or I'll never get to the truth. Hey,
I'm an
aware of
intellectual
something.
too. I think it was on the first page. Nope.
I think he got it.
Nope.
What did we present?
I don't know.
The report on what was in the fountain.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
I'm afraid you've run out of road, Miss Bound. It was bound to happen eventually.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Yes, we do. This is not an ATV.
Oh.
You can lie all you like, but you can't deny the results of the tests conducted on the sculpture's remains. And those tests leave no room for ambiguity. What you had on display weren't replicas. They were the very statues Mr. Frost carved 18 years ago.
Oh, I can probably explain how they walked it out if you like, dear. It's the sugar, you see. You might think sugar is sugar, but the composition of sugar is very unique sugar. You could probably recreate the statues, but the sweet secret of their chemical makeup, no chance.
Thank you, Miss Scone. I don't recall asking for your help, but still,
I'm a Capricorn, you see?
be quiet.
Oh.
Oh, I'm a candy corn.
To put it simply,
I'm a candy corn.
Capricorn, no! Candy corn!
It's the cream of the crop Capricorns, the candy corn.
I'm a cross between a candy corn and a pie.
do you mean Capricorn, Pisces? To put it simply, the statues didn't disappear back then because they'd melted.
Well, I see pie and I eat it. Pie, see? Yeah?
I have Pisces disease.
As in, I see poison. You know the rest.
They disappeared because you spirited them away and kept them hidden for these 18 long years.
What? She kept a pair of flavored ice sculptures around
Total,
the entire time. What?
total Libra behavior. Leo behavior.
Clearly Leo behavior.
It's not the most out there idea in the world, assuming that you are a Libra and not a Copernicus.
Quiet, all of you. Miss Bounder's clearly Sagittarius, isn't that right, dear?
So you've already learned that much. I melted the statue. And then I remade it myself from scratch. That's what happened. Oh, I can't. No,
What?
they're never gonna believe that.
Should I take that to mean that you admit to having hidden the flavored ice sculptures in question? That's what you said, right?
No, I admit to nothing. You'll have to take me down in court, suckers. You haven't proven that I was the one who took those statues, and you won't, because it would have been impossible for me to do so in the first place. The police were already here when they disappeared. How could I have done it without them noticing?
How indeed. I don't yet know exactly how you did it, but I'm far from ready to say that you didn't do it.
You talking about the boys who stick their head in the water and search for clues?
Blues.
One was
You're
looking under a
very
vending machine for like
persistent
30
man.
minutes.
Aren't you, Mr. Edgeworth?
I am indeed, and I won't stop until I get to the truth. Show me your truth.
I see. Then I better tell you exactly what I did that day 18 years ago. What I did that day.
18 years ago.
Perhaps.
A blog.
A Word document.
A solo musical
The
number.
whole time before judging began, I was waiting upstairs in our living area on standby. During the judging, I had to go change the camera's film cartridge and the camera. But before I could take the camera back to Samson, I discovered Mr. Frost's body. Later, around when your father arrived, I began to make the rounds and serve tea to everybody. That was when I saw Mr. Gusto entering Mr. Frost's room. And those are my movements. I hardly see how you could take issue with my movements.
It's my duty.
And that's
Or
our
your
duty to
duty?
decide, Miss Bound.
Are you saying there's a contradiction in the duties, Mr. Edgeworth?
I'm more focused on proving the fact that she did indeed do the duties. The question is when she would have had the opportunity to do so.
To do so.
If I can pinpoint that, I might be able to prove what exactly she got up to.
It's too easy to
what I
make
did
duty
that
jokes
day.
in this
Yes, it
in
is.
this game.
The whole time before judging began, I was waiting upstairs in our living room area on standby.
That's what I call it before I do my duty.
Stop. Go back. Stop.
Please. Thank you. And what were you
Can't,
doing
that was the issue.
while you were waiting?
I was in my room practicing some dance routines.
Some movements.
Yeah, there's one. I'm beaming it to your head. I was on a TV show called Bacon Bop with Samson, you see? He had black hair back then.
Bacon Bop? I wonder what kind of show that is.
It was a children's show. The two of them would sing and dance and make a variety of sweets.
You know about it, Mr. Edgeworth? Wow, it sounds awesome.
My father told me about it.
I bet you have figurines, don't you?
Hold
Not
the
those
phone.
kind.
Miles, you used to watch this show?
I,
Oh my gosh!
my father introduced me to it. I may have watched one episode or two. maybe a season. Or 2. So,
You
Miss
watched
Bound,
all 20, didn't you?
I watched all 20 seasons, okay? Don't judge me.
Plus the special edition episodes that came out
The
that
filler
nobody else
episodes.
would really know about.
And
Probably
the Japanese
his favorite,
exclusives. I watched them
He watched them both sub and dub.
with my Japanese friend that translated them for me in real time.
He did a fan dub.
I watched the Braille version of it.
And also that internet exclusive one. The Braille one?
That's right, I watched the Braille one.
I didn't have a friend, so I had to teach myself Braille.
And I felt the TV screen as I watched it. Is that what you're saying?
Fortunately, I could see the TV screen. I don't know how the Braille people actually watched that one.
Oh, man.
I might have been the only person who ever actually saw that one.
I do not know who the targeted audience was.
But I enjoyed it
I
thoroughly.
feel like it was me. I was very special.
I was the targeted audience after 30 hours of study.
So Miss Bound passed the time before the judging began by practicing her dance routines. Anyway, let's get back to that subject. Was this the moment when Miss Bound stole the sculptures?
This
the moment.
wasn't the moment.
But how would I have done that?
Yeah.
Well,
Even a great thief would struggle to steal sculptures around then, Mr. Edgeworth.
It wasn't the moment.
Okay, it wasn't.
wrong moment. My apologies. Please continue, Miss Bound. I won't accuse you again until the right moment.
During the
Just redo that
judging-
dialogue, right?
I had to go change the camera's film cartridge for Samson.
I don't know. We can try it.
Bacon Bob.
It's probably the exact
Bob
same
the
thing.
bacon.
It's just like a trigger for doing damage or not.
If I had to guess.
It can't have been the moment she did it. I'd better listen carefully to what she says.
Yeah.
Okay.
During the judging, I had to go change the camera for Samson.
It only takes one picture.
Samson's a little on the cheaper side, isn't he?
You were the only one who was able to move around freely during the judging.
Yes, because I was finishing up the camera. I wouldn't say I was free exactly, but I was able to move around more than the contestants. Even so, I was short. I could hardly have spirited the sculptures away while Samson was standing right there, could I? I went straight off to change the film as soon as he asked me. I would have had time.
So changing the camera is requested by Mr. Tangrowth. Was this the moment when Mr. Bound stole the sculpture? Wait, Miss Bound, not Mr. Bound. This is when you removed the sculptures.
But how would I have done that?
Super strength.
Ow. I apologize. I won't accuse you again until it's the right moment.
Unless, of course, that I do.
Before I could take the camera back to Samson, I discovered Mr. Frost's body.
Stayed frosty.
You entered the room containing Mr. Tangrowth's work before bringing the camera back to him, correct?
Yes, I heard the sound of something collapsing.
That's what it sounded like.
Samson, are you in here?
Samson, are you in here? But musically.
The sound of the chocolate ship falling over, collapsing over, capsizing over after someone took a bite out of one of the supports.
And Mr. Tangrowth was still in Mr. Gusto's room when you found the body.
Yes, I'm fairly sure that was definitely the case. He was judging each room in order, and he liked to take his time.
To the point at which she discovered Mr. Frost's body. Was this the moment Miss Bound stole the sculptures?
But how would I have done that?
At every turn.
There are 3 people in there with me, and a body, and a body.
Looks like I got it wrong. My apologies. I won't interject again until it's the right moment.
Later,
I
around
was
when your
lying.
father arrived, I began to make the rounds and serve tea to everybody present.
I need
like
to
the
figure out
water
when Miss
girl,
Bound
but for
went in and
tea.
steal the sculptures.
What was her best window of opportunity? Have you tried pressing on every single dialogue box just in case?
If you're gonna get to the bottom of this, you better thoroughly press her on everything and accuse her at every turn. So get to it, we're right behind you, unless, of
All
course,
right.
you make a false accusation.
I'm going to thoroughly press you on everything. I hope you're ready. What did you do today?
I went around and offered everybody working on the investigation a cup of tea.
Present company included, I remember that well. You were here, there, upstairs, downstairs. You were with that little cart of yours, too.
Interesting. And anything strike you as strange around that time?
Oh yeah. Gregory was singing the praises of Judy's tea, and, I think he mentioned that his saucer was a little cold, a little chilly.
His saucer was cold.
A little chilly.
Was this the moment when Miss Bound stole the sculpture?
When she was serving tea to
I
the
believe
defense attorney.
This was when you stole the sculptures.
I hate to contradict you, but the fountain room is full of witnesses at that point, Mr. Fender included. Are you suggesting that I somehow got the sculptures out of Mr. Frost's room right under everyone's noses? Because if so,
Put
that'd be
it in
really
your
impressive.
pocket.
That is precisely what I'm suggesting.
She has a nice sculpture pocket.
Miss Bound stole those ice sculptures, and she did it by hiding them here,
The fountain.
in Fender's back pocket.
In her
That's why the
side.
tablecloth was wet.
My father and Fender had no idea that one of the sculptures was mere inches away from them. Because it wasn't just a tea set you were pushing around, Miss Bound, but a hidden ice sculpture in a glass case.
Ah! The truth hurts.
Surely such a thing would have been impossible. How would a case of that size fit on a serving cart? It would have been spotted immediately.
Who said anything about a serving cart?
What? I'm not sure I follow Mr. Edgeworth.
I'm not sure I follow either, Mr. Edgeworth. What are you suggesting she could have used instead?
I'm
Her
suggesting
ice sculpture
Miss
pocket.
Bound used this to transport the sculptures.
Fire in a can? I find that highly likely.
Child
Convicted.
labor.
Never thought of that. What is this?
It's child labor.
The cart that Miss Bound used to move the flavored ice sculptures out of Mr. Frost's room 18 years ago. And it would appear that the very same cart is still here with us in this fountain room. Look, it's right there.
There it is.
Next to Dobby, chugging that bowl of frosting.
I love frosting so much.
We originally brought it here to use in the contest.
And you're saying that Miss Brown loaded Mr. Frost sculptures onto this cart and carried them off?
I am, in the words of Jesus.
Oh.
As you
Jesus
can
did say
imagine,
that.
all one would need to do is lay a case on its side, add a tablecloth, and it'd look exactly like a normal serving cart, thus allowing her to move the sculptures around freely.
I don't think you realize how heavy ice is.
I realize how heavy ice is.
No wonder this is called the Oasis of Case.
Holy moly, of course. That's why those saucers were so chilly. They were sitting right there on top of the block of ice the entire time.
Ah,
Judes, how could you?
impressive.
Oh.
Then again, you are Mr. Gregory Edgeworth's son. I should have expected no less. There isn't a scrap of evidence that I stole the sculptures all those years ago now. And yet, I knew that no matter what I said or did, I'd always be under a cloud of suspicion and maybe poison gas.
So you admit it? You admit that you stole them from Mr. Frost's room?
Statute of limitations is up. Doesn't
Yes.
matter if I do.
I
Doesn't matter
do.
if it's ice either.
I took those sculptures and their glass cases out of that room 18 years ago.
Sculpture of limitations.
As Mr. Edgeworth correctly deduced, I dressed up the lift cart as a serving cart to do it. And slipped in and out of Mr. Frost's room while I was going around, serving tea to everybody. In the end, I'd removed not only the sculptures, but the flavored ice Zodiac blocks as well. I hated those things.
Zodiac blocks. I feel like I've seen them for myself before. There's a huge block of ice on display here. It must be incredibly heavy, though maybe not with it being hollow on the inside.
I bet you I could bench press that.
If the Winter Ring really is an exact replica of Mr. Frost's room from 18 years ago, then even though my father never saw them because they'd already melted, the Zodiac blocks must have been in the victim's room back then as well.
When I finished moving the 2 ice sculptures and the 2 Zodiac blocks out, I took 2 fresh empty cases to Mr. Frost's room and put them where the original 2 had been. Only the sculptures had been kept in glass cases, you see, to prevent them from being damaged and whatnot. The blocks were a little more robust, so they had been displayed as is. As stated in the contest rules, we were responsible for providing all display materials, including cases.
Meaning it would have been easy for her to prepare those empty spares she swapped in.
Mr. Frost's room contained quite a few other flavored ice works in progress. I figured if I melt them down somehow, the resulting puddle looked like it came from the sculptures. And that is how the sculptures from 18 years ago came to be in the Winter Wing today.
I have to say, Mr. Edgeworth, that's quite the confession.
She's going to jail.
Indeed. And I think she offered it so willingly because she knows there's nothing we can do with it.
That is all I have to speak to you, police. However, despite everything I've shared, you can't charge me with anything now, can you?
What? How do you figure that?
I'm not police.
Oh my. I would have thought you might know at least this much, given we're at a crime scene. I suggest you memorize various statute of limitations outlined in this book.
I was right.
Statues of fermentations? What's that?
Fermentations.
Statue of fermentations.
Simply
Also,
put,
hey Scoot, how are you doing? Nice to meet you as well.
Howdy, nice to meet you, Scoot.
Hey, hey.
It's good to meet you. Simply put, Kay, prosecutors only have a certain amount of time in which to brew their own booze. That
What?
is what the statute of fermentations is all about.
Yup. When it comes to theft, you have 7 years to brew it.
So it's different for every crime. Murder's 15 years, theft is 7 years.
What country is this? I don't think murder has a statute of limitations.
Yes, Miss Bound stole the ice sculptures 18 years ago.
Yeah, well, this is theft, so. But yeah, I guess you're right. Murder was listed.
So it's too late to have her arrested for that crime.
Or any crime that is listed in this book, apparently.
I don't believe you've ever gone to law school. Theft is a serious matter, especially when it involves the removal of evidence from a crime scene. However, as you yourself just pointed out, Miss Bound can no longer be prosecuted for a crime. Rendering your revelation rather pointless, wouldn't you say, Mr. Edgeworth?
I wouldn't be so sure about that. For you see, the theft of the ice sculptures isn't my principal interest here. I find the body that reappeared 18 years ago after the theft to be of considerably more interest.
Are you suggesting that I also hid Mr. Frost's body?
I am indeed.
How do you keep a body hidden for 18 years without anybody finding it?
By hiding it in a very unusual way.
The body pocket! Wow, now that is interesting! Are you telling me that you know where the body has been all this time, Mr. Edgeworth?
It's not such a big leap if you think about what Miss Bound has told us already. Let's just say it wasn't flavored ice that she removed from Mr. Frost's room back then.
Very well. If you are confident in this claim, let us put it to the test. I just tested it. It has very good durability.
So, she can't be prosecuted for stealing the ice sculpture anymore, but how about making money off of this stolen ice sculpture for her art gallery? Pretty sure she can be prosecuted for that.
Would have thought she could be prosecuted for murder, too.
Well, I mean, like the crime just happened like really recently because the art gallery just opened and she charged people money to come in to see to basically see a lie. She said it was a replica of the statues, but they're the actual statues themselves, meaning that Frost is the one that made them, so he's not getting the due credit.
Mm-hmm.
This is where Miss Bound hid the body.
I'm afraid you will have to demonstrate to me how that works, Mr. Edgeworth.
I have no idea. I thought you were gonna figure it out.
Do I look like someone who would figure something out that I don't actually have to figure out?
You're right, you're very lazy.
Indeed. If you have nothing to contribute to the investigation, perhaps you could wait outside for the big boys to finish up.
Jeez, lady, I've been dropping bombshell after bombshell, and I make one wrong guess, and you're kicking me out.
Actually, you've made like 20, but I can't remember that because you reloaded the save point.
I'm very good at that.
Alright,
Found.
It was found in the cookbook of Marx. Look
There's
at this
not-
photograph.
there's not many places that a body could have been hidden. Like, it wasn't in this one. Was it wrapped in a cloth?
And the ice sculpture.
Yeah,
This
I
is
was
what
thinking
she's
the
doing.
ice sculpture room.
Because they were hollow. A hollow sculpture
The other ice sculpture one.
beneath
This
the
one?
cloth.
Yeah.
A photograph of Mr. Frost's wakes.
He was cryo frozen.
And of the victim's body, Your Honor.
A little carbonite bath. You'll have to forgive me, but I don't see what you mean.
Me neither.
I was hoping you could shed some light.
Where exactly in this photograph is Mr. Frost's body?
It was right.
His hand's over here, and his head is over there.
He's
and
hiding right
his
here.
toes are over here.
Just underneath
Under
the
the-
tablecloth.
under the
It's like,
tablecloth,
oh, look at that. I mean, I would think that it's like in the statue,
Yeah, I
right?
think it's under the cloth with that person. On the left that you can't see.
This?
Yeah.
Oh, you're right. This was the cloth. This isn't an ice. I forgot about that. Nice.
Shing! The Gemini sculpture? He's clearly a man of Capricorn taste, though.
He died doing what he loved, hanging out with his sculptures. But it is in fact a corpse.
Oh, surely you can't be serious. I licked those sculptures. I don't see anything in the photograph to support such a wild claim.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. It's because a certain piece of evidence was used to hide the body in plain sight.
And what, pray tell, piece of evidence might that be? The court demands that you present what was used to conceal the body.
Alright, it's right here.
Fire in a can, you say? One of the cloths from the autumn wing.
Yes, when it's made to glow in just the right way, it's so visually convincing, you might mistake it for ice. In fact, what I've just handed you is ice. The real cloth is right here.
What?
It looks the exact same.
Isn't that right, Miss Scone?
Well, yes, dear, but you can make it look like just about anything, really. Even blazing fire. And the right shade of blue would make it look like ice. Yes, exactly like it, in fact.
Is it not the case that a certain special device is needed to generate the electricity to power such coolers?
If you would care to take another look at the photograph of the winter wing, Your Honor.
Every time I take a look at that photograph, I laugh.
Okay, that's weird, but you look anyway. You'll notice there's a small box connected to the bottom of the Gemini display case.
Oh, yeah, I see it now.
One of the very light-emitting devices in question. Detective Gumshoe even confirmed its presence.
Yeah, that'll hold up in court.
In fact, this particular device went missing 18 years ago. Back then, it was no doubt firmly connected to the cloth inside the display case.
What do you mean by
I
formally?
didn't like the way you said that.
We know you're not a part of this. This means that Miss Bound had no choice but to take it with her when she removed the sculpture. Dunk, dunk, dunk. So you see, this cloth and the light-emitting device were being used to create the illusion that Mr. Frost's body was, in fact, a statue carved from ice.
No, this can't be.
Why does that upset you so much?
I don't know.
Whoa, wait a minute. So you're telling me that when we took the photo of us in the winter wing,
Yes, we were standing in front of a body.
But the body and the cloth were both recovered from the fountain. Why were they found there if the body was supposed to be in the winter wing disguised as a sculpture?
Because there would have been no mystery as to how the body had been hidden if we had found it as is. Miss Bound needed to remove Mr. Frost from the winter wing in order to throw us off the scent.
I'm overruling that. That's just preposterous. I don't recall her sneaking around behind our backs to throw a body into the fountain.
No, and she didn't need to because she had another method at her disposal. Her trusty Lift cart. Sponsored by Lyft. The same cart that had
caught your cares away.
so usefully executed the original theft.
That's good.
What? No, what? Ah!
I believe she wheeled the body into one of the other wings and floated it down on the wings. And the frozen body, being quite solid, probably got stuck somewhere along the way. Which is why only the cloth appeared at first. The cloth Miss Scone discovered.
And then the body followed afterwards once it had thawed enough?
It's an ingenious theory, Mr. Edgeworth. But can you prove that it was me?
I am not smart enough to do that.
It seems a little unfair to expect me to accept your accusations without proof, don't you think?
I like cherry-flavored snow cones. Those are my favorite. Eyewitness, you think there were what?
As a matter of fact, I do. And the contradiction in this piece of evidence I was provided will shed light on exactly how Miss Bound moved the body as well.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, do you have any evidence to support your allegation?
Do I have any evidence? Ha! Of course, I have a piece of very compelling proof right here.
Edgeworth, do we actually have the evidence?
I don't
Please.
know, maybe.
Please present it to the court. What evidence do you have that proves Miss Bound acted as you claim?
What evidence do I have?
Probably the sketch, right? Or the...
Yeah, probably. So.
The tablecloth was so cold it turned blue. There's more drawings? A rather ravishing photograph of me.
Yes, indeed it is. Mr. Butts drew sketches of people as they passed through the fountain room, but what I'm interested in is the cart we can see here.
Miss Bound's soybean cart, what about it?
Heh, you don't see it. She's using the same trick she used 18 years ago. Ergo, we know that Miss Bound was busy moving Mr. Frostbody when this picture was being drawn.
Did you just try to use the word ergo unironically?
If I may, I don't see Mr. Frostbody anywhere in that sketch. All I see is a picture of me delivering chocolates to everyone.
Really? Then allow me to direct your attention to the color of the tablecloth.
What?
Are you saying that color matters?
I'd originally thought that color didn't matter, but the events of today have proven me, oh, how wrong I was.
This tablecloth appears to be light blue.
Yes, and many colors appear to be one thing, but it turns out, once you get to know them, they're very different. This cloth only appears to be light blue due to the body hitting right underneath it.
But the shape of the cart is perfectly rectangular, just as one would expect. Surely it would be immediately obvious if the tablecloth were being draped directly over the body.
Not if the body had been placed inside one of the hollow zodiac blocks in the winter wing. Place one of those babies on the lift cart and it'll easily pass muster as a regular serving cart, wouldn't you agree?
Goddess of justice!
The government?
Wiener, go back to your game.
Okay.
Miss Bound. Surely now you must admit that it was you who moved the body just as you did 18 years ago.
I didn't expect you to do solve that from a single sketch. That sketch alone isn't really enough to prove your theory, is it?
You needn't worry on that front. My case doesn't rest solely on Mr. Butt's artwork, thank goodness.
Ah!
Once you disposed of the body, your serving cart became a simple lift cart once more, which is exactly what we discovered here in the fountain room. And without a serving cart, you had to find some place to put your chocolates.
More chocolates?
My chocolates! The ones I was handing out?
As we saw in the sketch, you had originally placed them on top of the cart. But the chocolate you gave us came from your pocket. Your chocolate pocket.
Oh yeah, her chocolate pocket. Mine was half melted. The sad days. It's still super sweet and tasty though.
Why did you suddenly feel the need to put the chocolate in your pocket, Miss Bound? It was because you no longer had a serving cart to put them on, that's why.
Ah!
One moment, please.
They were falling off the car, so I just put them in my pocket to make it easier.
You have explained what Miss Bound did with the chocolates in the lift cart and the chocolate pocket, but what about the tablecloth? Where did that go,
Indeed, if stashing the chocolate in her pocket was the only solution, I could clock it as a murder. I doubt Miss Bound had the time to dispose of an entire tablecloth.
Well, Mr. Edgeworth, do you have an answer for little old me?
Miss Bound didn't hide or dispose of the tablecloth, Your Honor. In fact, she ate it.
Right here in front of us.
In front of us.
Perhaps you would care to enlighten us on how her digestive juices could have possibly done that? Where is the tablecloth Miss Bound used to hide the body?
In Miss Bound's person.
In it.
Miss Bound has the tablecloth in her person. In plain view, in fact. She's not pregnant.
What? In plain... what? Surely, you couldn't... you don't mean...
Miss Bound. It's the cloth inside your stomach, isn't it?
You're not actually pregnant.
Ah!
And given that the
Figure out.
Zodiac blocks were kept in glass cases, that cloth would have been in direct contact with the ice, making it a refreshing treat. All we would need to do to confirm my theory is test the cloth for traces of the sugar used in Mr. Frost's work. We need a vomit sample, Miss Bound. The game is up. It's time to come clean.
Oh, that's
It's time
nasty.
to upchuck.
I'm uncomfortable. You won't need to test my vomit. It's around my waist.
Oh.
Everything you said is true except for that part. I'm just telling you, it's around my waist. I did not eat the tablecloth. I stole the delicious infesticide. I moved Mr. Frost's body.
Oh.
It was me. It was all me. Delisha, I'm so sorry. Last week I went into your bag and I took it.
You can definitely see the greatest part of
And then-
sculpt of the Cupid here.
I put it in his pocket, hoping to make it look like he had tried to do it himself. I also made sure to leave no fingerprints but yours, just in case the police suspected foul play. Jody! You! Oh, gosh.
That's not good, is it?
But Judes, why? Weren't we supposed to be on the same side? Weren't we as a team? We're all fighting together to free Samson, weren't we?
We were, but I couldn't afford to get arrested, so I committed a crime. Not until I'd proven that Samson didn't commit a crime. I always planned to give myself up in the end, I swear. I know
Yeah,
it's
that
easy to
shit's
say
out.
that now, but
That is easy to say now.
Why do it this way, though? It's not like you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Fender. I've caused you so much trouble. I've been the guilty party all along, ever since that day 18 years ago.
Are you trying to tell us that the true culprit in the Oasis incident is you?
I committed it. A terrible crime. I took those sculptures. I stole them for purely selfish reasons. I killed the investigator that was trying to find more information on the case.
Wait, what?
That last one was a joke. The moment Mr. Frost died, they became more than mere entries in a confectionery contest. They became the final works of Samson's favorite artist. I couldn't allow them to just melt away. Not before he came home. And that meant I couldn't let anybody near them. Not even the police. So I hid them. I know it was wrong, but I just had to. I put them in the cold storage room for safekeeping, where they store the colds. What I'd actually done was far worse than anything I could have possibly imagined. Because who would have thought that Mr. Frost's body was in the sculptures? Who would have done that?
So she didn't know about the body when she stole the sculptures.
And she's been keeping it on ice for 18 years.
Samson is a kind man. A saint. He could never kill anybody. Never. The worst thing he's ever done is squirt people in the face with the little rose on his chest. And yet because of what I did, the police never found Mr. Frost's body and Samson was guilty.
And his hair turned white.
After all he'd done for me, he was my family. The only family I've ever had. He was the most important person in the entire world to me. And I...
Judes.
Hey, Judes.
After his conviction, I was forced out of my home. I was finally able to return only a few days after living on the street for 18 years. And when I did, I went to the cold storage room to check up on the sculptures. And that's when I saw it. Mr. Frost's body! It'd been there the whole time!
Frosty body.
Of course, by that point, the statute of limitations had expired, so, you know, I did what I did today. Because it was the only way I could think of to make things right by not admitting to my crime.
Are we really gonna believe this?
It seems I've misunderstood her intentions. Everything she's done really has all been for Mr. Tangrowth's sake.
Yeah, what are you thinking about, Mr. Edgeworth?
Something that's been puzzling me.
My timeshare in Florida.
I puzzled and puzzled till my puzzler was spent. Why did Miss Bound use poison gas? Why not a more reliable method? I can think of at least 6 more methods that would have been way more reliable. And why disguise the autumn wing as the winter wing? The only reason I can think of is to confuse someone who was here 18 years ago.
Yeah, I wonder what she had in mind.
If she was trying to prove that Mr. Tangrowth is innocent, Miss Bound's ultimate goal must be to... Could she have been trying to discover the identity of the true culprit?
No.
Miss Bound, your ultimate aim was to see Mr. Tangrowth cleared of all charges, correct?
Ah!
And to that end, you had to expose the real killer and have the police find the body from 18 years ago. Is my understanding of your intentions correct?
Let's go with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exhibiting the sculptures was sure to force the killer to return to the crime scene. After all, they were the only person apart from you who knew that the body was hidden in the icework.
So they would have freaked out thinking the body was about to be discovered and come running.
Exactly, but Miss Bound ran the risk that the killer might successfully cover their tracks this time. In the worst case scenario, they might even have been able to remove Mr. Frost's body from the scene. So how could she lure the true killer into revealing themselves without pulling vital evidence in the risk zone?
The risk zone. It's like a danger zone. I see what you're getting at here. You're saying that's why the autumn wing was all wintry wingy.
I am. You were betting on one thing, Miss Bound, weren't you? That whoever opened the Pisces case you had so carefully disguised as the Gemini case would be the real perpetrator of the ISIS incident.
Ah!
No. But that would mean the real killer was... Enough, not another word. Do you realize the implications of what you're saying, Mr. Edgeworth? Are you prepared to stand behind the accusation you are clearly about to make?
I wouldn't be saying it otherwise.
Miss Bound set a trap for Mr. Frost's killer, meaning that whoever found themselves caught in that trap is highly likely to be the guilty party. But I lack the evidence to support such an assertion. To accuse someone without any evidence is not to be done lightly. So,
Here we go!
time to get some
We're doing
weights so it can be done heavily. Should I really go ahead and make my accusation and name Mr. Frost's killer nonetheless? The answer is clear. Absolutely.
100%.
My ultimate goal is to see the killer exposed. And to do that, I need to
Whoa, you want to
seize
see the killer
moment.
exposed?
Yes, Judge Gabble, I am prepared to stand behind my accusation to expose the killer. I know exactly who is to blame for the ISIS incident.
Somebody not voiced by Callan Z.
Thank you. It's like the one side character that's not voiced by me.
He's been unconscious the whole time.
Mr. Gusto? The victim of the poison gas attack is the perpetrator behind the ISIS incident?
Ghosty!
Mr. Gusto, I never would have suspected.
Me gusto.
Miss Bound, as we have established, you knew that the opening of the gallery would lure in the real culprit, and you set up the poison gas trap in order to catch them. Do you dispute the facts thus far?
You're a very impressive man, Mr. Edgeworth. Just like your father. And of
What?
course, you're absolutely right.
Then perhaps you could tell us exactly what happened in your own words.
Of course! I have nothing to hide anymore. So I might as well tell you everything. As you said, I set a trap here in the gallery to try and catch Mr. Frost's killer. Before we opened, I made sure that the door to the outer wing was the only one that was unlocked. When opening time came, I went around to unlock the doors of the various rooms and found that the outer wing had been locked from the inside. The killer is on the other side of the door. The thought, well, it frightened me.
And then she simply walked away, leaving him to fall victim to her poisonous gas.
When I heard that Mr. Gusto had been treated for gas inhalation, that's when I knew he was the murderer, and I laughed a little bit.
He was sniffing gas.
All that was left was for the police to find Mr. Frost's body, and then Samson would finally be proven innocent. At least, that was my plan.
Judes, why didn't you just tell me? You know I'm always here for you, right? We could have found another way. It didn't have to be like this. Now you're gonna be taken away. For a
Thank
very,
you,
very
Mr.
long
Fender.
time.
I'm planning to wait until the statute of limitation runs out on this one, too. But I'm the one who created this mess, so I wanted to clean it up. I didn't
Not
care
like-
what it took.
Not like going to jail, but you know, just confession-wise.
Yeah, as long as I could get Samson out of that awful place.
Judy.
Fender. 18 years ago, the police managed to cover up the fact that Mr. Frost's body had gone missing. If I went to them now and said it had reappeared, I was afraid they might have tried to cover things up again. So I worked to set up a very public incident here in the gallery, in front of as many witnesses as possible.
Turns out there wasn't that many witnesses.
I'm so sorry, Judy, but I'm having the most fabulous hair day imaginable. See you, Samson, Gregory's, I let you all down by not taking my hat off sooner to show you all.
Fender, this case can't be easy for him.
No! I'm the one who should be apologizing. Mr. Edgeworth, Mr. Fender, I hope one day you forgive me. Take that! Whatever punishment I have to face, I'm ready for it. But please, if I may ask one thing of you, you must clear Samson's name.
No.
The way the truth of these past 18 years had come to light was unexpected, to say the least. And yet it had only set us down a path towards an even more shocking end.
To be continued.
Continue.
This next part is pretty long, apparently. But this should be the last part.
Well, we have an hour and 45 minutes to pass through it.
That's a good one.
Hey,
Hey, but a second.
Miss Bound, are you feeling a little calmer now? Now that you know you're going to jail.
Yeah!
Good, then allow me to get to the point. Regardless of your intentions, you broke the law.
Yes, I understand.
Nevertheless, I understand as well. You did what you did in order to
We all
prove
have-
Mr. Tangrowth didn't do what he do.
We all have an understanding.
Mr. Tangrowth didn't do what he did.
What he dude?
Therefore, if the real culprit really is someone else, then we have a duty, and we're going to reinvestigate the case.
Yeah, about that. There's nothing to suggest that anything nefarious took place in the official Oasis incident records. And right now, there's nothing to suggest that we should take Miss Bound out of ward either. So our first order of business should be to arrest the culprit of the case before us, Miss Bound herself.
Official records cannot always be trusted, Judge
What?
Gavel.
Ah,
Especially since there are those prosecutors, bless you, who would think, bless you, nothing of twisting the facts.
I'm allergic to illegal stuff.
I overrule your bless you.
What?
You used one too many. Are you possibly suggesting that the committee at the time overlooked such a prosecutor?
That's for you to find out, and me to find out. However, it is a fact that the autopsy report was faked, seeing as Mr. Frost's body was only found just now.
I guess that is true, huh? There really is something of Mr. Von Karma in you, Mr. Ageworth.
Don't insult me.
How so exactly?
By continually defying the will of the committee and bending the truth to fit your needs, that's how. Perhaps it's time you understand how I know. How the goddess of justice
The government?
sees the case.
I finished the game on my Game Boy SP. Can I come back now?
Here's $25. Go to GameStop and get a new one.
Get the sequel.
Oh, nice.
The committee is willing to accept that Mr. Von Karma falsified Mr. Frost's autopsy report. But the committee is not willing to be convinced that Mr. Von Karma only managed to have Mr. Tangrowth convicted of something. I personally have come to believe that the real culprit behind the ISIS incident is indeed Ms. Bound. Her plan to poison and kill Mr. Gusto today was her attempt to frame him for Mr. Frost's murder.
What?
Alright, we're gonna be quick about this because GameStop is literally across the street. We do not have long.
Despite his short little legs, he's fast, man.
It is just across the street. As always, I act solely in service of law and order.
Time to get a Game Boy game. Do that. Do that.
It sounds to me like all she's doing is acting in service of the committee and covering up the truth. Where did that Game Boy Advance SP come from? They don't sell those anymore. And if I can't change her mind, there will be no saving Mr. Tangrowth or Miss Bound.
Wait a second, they don't sell Game Boy Advance games at GameStop anymore.
The committee
go run down-
view.
Go run down to Blockbuster and rent a movie.
The committee's view. A Word document.
The committee is willing to accept that Mr. Von Karma falsified Mr. Frost's autopsy report.
No, they're not.
If you accept that Mr. Von Karma falsified the report, then why won't you reinvestigate the case?
Because the goddess of justice
The government?
is never wrong.
Yeah, we're not.
I thought you were. Why are you here? I thought you'd left.
I just like to
have him on
interject with that
speakerphone,
one. You know, I interject with that one every time.
Don't even worry about it.
It's like a superpower.
It's not blatant evidence tampering. You sure your precious goddess is
The
into
government?
that?
He's not even. How are we hearing his voice? Is this telepathic?
Almost makes you think the committee might have other reasons for not wanting this looked into again.
Further investigation is simply unnecessary since the goddess of justice
The government?
has already spoken.
Would you please stop saying the goddess of justice?
Yeah, the government?
The goddess of justice
government?
will not stand for that, Mr. Ageworth. Even still, Mr. Von Karma only managed to have Mr. Tangrowth convicted as an accomplice.
I believe it was a confession that sealed Mr. Tangrowth's fate in the end. A confession secured by Mr. Von Karma, which should surely cast doubt on something.
Overruled. Samson Tangrowth confessed in the initial investigation to the initial investigating officer, one Detective Ian Soydman.
Wow, he sounds like a main character.
The official records state that it was his interrogations that led to the conviction. You know, he sounds like a main character. He's actually a soy character. It's so weird.
His name literally almost spells out I
Soy.
am Sideman.
Therefore, all I can say to you is the goddess of justice has
The
already
government?
spoken. Unbelievable. She just won't budge at all. Are these committee guys really that big of a deal?
In many ways, they are a prosecutor's worst nightmare.
So kind of like how the police are to a great thief, huh?
Funny how you don't seem to have a problem with working with the police when it suits you.
I personally have come to believe that the real culprit behind the ISIS incident is Ms. Bound.
Are you suggesting that Mr. Tangrowth and Miss Bound killed Mr. Frost together?
Impressive.
And why not? You could even imagine they split their roles as thus.
It's a date.
Mr. Tangrowth could have been the one to commit the act itself, while Ms. Bound was to remove all the evidence.
How romantic.
What? The thought that we could ever kill Mr. Frost. Okay.
Overruled. You stole his corpse and hid it for 18 years.
Good point.
Is it really so surprising that you could have done something?
Miss Bound has freely confessed to all of her crimes. Now is not the time to speculate about what else she might have done in the past.
I think that's a perfect time to speculate.
If
actually.
not now, then when?
Let bygones be bygones. She murdered 18 years ago. The statute of limitations is up.
Oh yeah, she definitely wouldn't do it again. Very well, let us pass judgment on what we know she did in the present then, I guess. Her plan to poison and kill Mr. Gusto today was her attempt to frame him for Mr. Frost's murder.
This isn't over yet. Not by a long shot. There's still one thing we don't have an answer to, and it's up to me to point it out to Judge Cavill.
The committee's willing to oh, we already did that. That's right. I personally have come to believe that her plan to kill and poison Mr. Gusto was an ISIS incident.
I have this paper saying I'm not the killer. Trust bro.
Trust. She said that she... No, yeah, she already confessed that. Never mind. A taste disorder. Yep, there he is. That's him.
There he is. We found him. I don't know what we're presenting.
What's the piece of paper say?
Whoops. This one is what's in the fountain.
Sugar composition, matching sugar composition from sugar compositions. The statute of limitations book of marks.
Pokemon.
Statue of book of marks.
It's the communist statue of limitations.
There are none. The end.
Statute is suspended from the time of any accomplice's indictment to the end of their trial.
Lying to a comrade, no statute of limitations. Murdering somebody, 1 month.
Indictment. We haven't used the handprint.
No, we haven't.
So I don't think that's in question. It's willing to accept. That's not really in question. That could be in question.
I don't know how though.
I didn't either. What did the chemicals say? Nah, I don't know. Wait, wasn't she on security and she rang the alarm whenever it went off?
I don't remember.
What is Dobby doing in the sketch by Larry?
Pulling the cloth out of the fountain.
Would you mind taking a look at this, Judge Gavel?
I refuse. Okay, I'll look. Yeah, it appears to have no connection, so I refuse again.
Ugh. Judge Gavel is a tougher nut to crack than Mr. Wiener.
I'm
That
a
doesn't mean
walnut.
I should give up.
Hold on, so... Managed to... Next one. First, I've come to believe that the real culprit behind the ISIS incident is Miss Bound, okay. What's the next one? Planned to poison and kill Mr. Euster today was her attempt to frame him for Mr. Frost's murder. What murder?
We're just gonna give him the entire file. That's your evidence. Fire in a can.
Cloth.
No, I can tell you what to do. I have no idea why it makes sense, though.
I think that's for the best because
Is it on
I
this
have
page?
absolutely no idea.
It's the piece of paper.
This one?
Nope, the other one. The Gemini face file, yep.
The one about the fountain?
Yep.
And we presented on this one?
I think either this one or the third one. I think both work.
There's a clear contradiction in her testimony, Judge Gavel.
Soylent, such statements will
maybe
not
not.
be tolerated by this court.
Humph, and why not? What precisely is wrong with my statement?
Oh,
Everything. For one thing, the fact you clearly don't even believe it yourself.
okay, I think I don't think you pressed her on the last one yet.
Why would Miss Bound have chosen to frame Mr. Gusto for the murder?
No doubt because he's suspected of being the real culprit. He may have entered what he thought was the Winter Wing simply to see if the Gemini statue was genuine. Little did he know that he would be greeted by a trap designed to silence him, a trap that nearly worked.
Do you have any evidence to support that line of reasoning?
Unfortunately, Mr. Gusto remains in critical condition. It'll be very difficult to prove anything until he regains consciousness. In other words, there's little we can do for it for now.
On the contrary, there's plenty we can do. Ever played jacks before?
Jax, you say? You know, I don't think you've grasped the situation, have you? Allow me to spell it out for you. We have all the evidence we need to explain both the Oasis incident and the poison gas attack.
So no jacks then.
I was never very good at Jax as a little girl, so no Jax. In the matter of the Oasis incident, we have a body, a murder weapon, and 2 suspects. As for the poison gas attack, we have the sources of the 2 chemicals and Miss Bound's confession. And as for you, Mr. Edgeworth, we also have enough evidence to see that you yourself will have to answer to the Goddess of Justice
The government?
in a formal hearing.
What?
Whoa! Well, that doesn't sound good, Mr. Edgeworth.
Don't worry, Mazzarino. I have a few acquaintances on the court. Rest assured, we'll get you out of this.
Arg. Your Honor, I'd greatly appreciate it if we could stay focused on the matter at hand.
Of course. Now, where was I? We have therefore determined that there is no need to investigate either case any further.
You really mean to assert that there are no loose ends left to investigate? None at all.
All of the evidence has been examined at length. There's nothing more to be learned from them. Therefore, I see no need to further prolong this trial. This court finds the defendant, Miss Bound,
Your
Oh, you're not
Honor,
interrupting me? Oh, okay. Oh,
I'm
oh,
certain
never
there's
mind.
You are
something that
interrupting.
still needs to be examined. I telepathically interrupted you just to see how you'd react.
I don't appreciate it. This hammer is about to fall, Mr. Edgeworth, and when the hammer comes down, it comes down hard, and you can't stop it. Present what you think requires for the deliberation, otherwise the hammer will be coming down.
This isn't over yet. Not by a long shot. There's still one thing we don't have an answer to, and it's up to me to point it out to Judge Gavel.
Alright, that should be all of them.
Yeah.
So now we do paper.
Yep.
Still not sure why this counter's at, but
I think it's like there's still a lead that we haven't looked at yet.
I'm afraid there's still one question concerning the ISIS incident that remains unanswered, Your Honor. Would you mind taking a look at this piece of paper?
A piece of paper.
This is
Yeah, it
my
looks like a
homework
piece
from
of
my
paper.
college course.
A college course exam. Wow, you only got a 72?
It's a
Completely
passing
average.
grade.
What is critical race theory? Why haven't I heard of it before?
It's test results carried out on the liquid. At the bottom of the Gemini case, in the winter wing. Don't ask me why I took the test there. As you can see, traces of blood were detected. The question is whose? The answer is mine. Until that question is answered, and it has been, I hardly think you can claim to have all the evidence.
You thought so hard you got a nosebleed, didn't ya? There was blood in the Gemini case? Yeah, that makes sense. Why did I not hear about this from Eustace earlier?
Because Detective Gumshoe informed me of the results directly. I was planning to tell Mr. Wiener about it myself, of course.
You kept this to yourself until now, despite having no jurisdiction here whatsoever. Mark my words, the committee will hear about what you've done here today.
As ever, my interest is in the truth. And if mistakes were made in the past, they must be rectified.
Your fancy lingo isn't convincing me.
If you must report me to the committee, then so be it. But in
Wasn't
return,
his fault. I was pretty enraptured in the game. He might have told me.
he was. Wiener was inaccessible. We must be allowed to investigate this case to the very end.
You keep repeating yourself, I keep repeating myself. It's not really my call. You'll need to discuss it further with Eustace.
Eustace, my
Guess
boy.
who's back? I'm back, and I have the good news, too. GameStop had exactly one Game Boy Advance game left. This man right here was the one that sold it to me.
What game did you get? You don't know what game you got, do you?
It was Finding Nemo 2, okay?
This boy will not stop following me, asking for a Game Boy game. I don't even know what this is.
He made it.
Going to pump it up.
You're the ones who found me. That's right. Long time no see, Gustavo. You're the attorney's assistant. You've grown, and you have an assistant of your own now.
Assistant? No, I'm,
He hasn't got the gig just yet. We're still in the,
Trial
period. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
This is, Gregory Edgeworth's son.
Prosecutor Miles Edgeworth at your service.
Fate moves in mysterious ways. I'm in your debt. If you hadn't found me in time, I wouldn't be here to thank you.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Now let me lock you up for the rest of your life.
After all, if you hadn't lived, we wouldn't be able to ask you what really happened 18 years ago.
Oh, look at the time. It seems I have to be going now. I must flee.
What's that?
Amazingly.
Your feet are chained to the floor.
Nah. See, we figured it out quite a while ago while, you were snoozing. Including the fact that you're probably the guy who, off to poor Artie Frost. You said this so casually. I am making a stressful...
What? Is that true?
Oh yes, while you were at GameStop, we figured out that he was the murderer. Miss Balance set up a very elaborate trap to catch Mr. Frost's murderer. A trap that involved rigging the Pisces case with poison gas.
I knew I made a mistake when I entrusted my soul to Pisces.
Perhaps in light of that fact, you could tell us in your own words what happened back then. Or perhaps you'd rather exercise your right to remain silent. Or perhaps you'd like your right to exercise.
Oh, it's not that. Gusto's here is just a fan of the old meditation, you know, Om and all that. I think he's actually falling asleep.
Wow! Sleeping while standing, that's pretty cool. One heck of a talent, I have to say.
He's a flamingo.
There's no sleeping involved in meditation, Kay.
Hey, Gustav, old pal. How's about you snap out of it and tell us what went down way back when?
No.
I was caught in the girl's trap, so I must be killer. Is that your idea of a joke? I'm the victim here.
Indeed you are, Mr. Gusto. There's no evidence that you have done anything wrong yet. Mr. Edgeworth and Mr. Fender are merely speculating. Rest assured that they will have no authority here, and that you may pay them no heed.
At least somebody here seems to be on my side.
Judge Verity Gavel at your service. A pleasure to meet such a strong, handsome man. I will assist you in any way that you might require. Perhaps you could begin by explaining what actually happened 18 years ago to Mr. Edgeworth.
I thought you said that he has no power here. Why would I do that?
Fine. You want me to prove I am innocent, Mr. Prosecutor? I'll be happy to. Look at me pump up the ball, and then deflate the ball.
So this is how you mean to play it, Judge Gavel? You're hoping Mr. Gusto will help you to hide what happened instead of trying to correct the record.
I believe only in the infallible judgment of the goddess of justice.
Wow, he's really into that game.
The government!
Oh, there it is. Except it's us humans who make the actual judgment calls in a court of law, and so as long as there are those who would use the law to their advantage, our rulings are fallible indeed. If you would use your position to further obscure the truth, then neither she nor I will forgive you.
We'll see about that.
I'm the chosen one.
What do you advise, Judge Gavel?
It would seem that you are under suspicion because it was you who triggered the poison gas. Specifically, by opening the Pisces case's lid. Would you be so kind as to share why you did such a thing with us?
I did not open it.
Understood. I came to see frost sculptures. Simple as that. I made a mistake with the opening times, then arrived half an hour early.
Miss Bound, was there no one at the reception desk around that time?
I'd left the main entrance unguarded and unlocked just in case the killer made an appearance. I was also busy making preparations elsewhere, all the way up until the gallery's opening. So no, there was no one here on the first floor. But, I did make sure that all the wings were locked up tight. All except for the autumn wing, that is.
I see. She did all that just to steer the culprit into the autumn wing. Which is precisely where Mr. Gusto went.
Sneaking into a building's pretty suspicious. I definitely wouldn't trust anyone who does that. Silence in the courtroom. I will permit no objections except for my own, nor interventions unless it's mine, unless of course there's evidence that the witness is lying. Then I'll bring it up. Courtroom? You know this is an art gallery, right? Mr. Gusto? If you could please continue by explaining why you opened the Pisces case. You want his character?
Nope.
You want...
I'm good.
I wanted to see Frost's work up close.
We're in the home stretch now, I think.
So I went up to the Gemini. Sorry, I guess it was supposed to be the Pisces statue. And I saw that the lid was frozen on tight. So I grabbed fire in a can from nearby and tried to open it. When I finally got it open, gas came pouring out.
Fascinating. His is the sort of flawless testimony attorneys can only dream of.
Yeah, the everything sounds like a lie kind. I am none too satisfied with Mr. Gusto's explanation myself. Alas, there's no evidence to refute it.
Excuse me?
Come on, there's gotta be something.
It's Bound's story you should be questioning, not mine. I'm not the one who set up the gas trap. She could have killed anybody with that thing. She turned on the sprinklers as soon as the gas was released. She knew exactly what she was doing. She was gunning for the killer, nobody else. That killer being you, old pal.
Anybody could have activated it, as long as they go and vandalize the art exhibit.
So you believe that self-confessed criminal?
Anyone who brings a blowtorch in.
Yeah.
It's like,
Miss Bound is far from blameless in this affair, and she will have to pay for her crimes, believe me. But so will Mr. Frost's killer.
You seem determined to pin Frost's murder on me. But they have no reason to kill him. Look at this bowl. Don't look at it anymore. You look too long. And you have no evidence to prove otherwise.
Can we really not prove he's the killer, Mr. Edgeworth?
Mr. Gusto fell victim to the poison gas. That much is indisputable. That is a gassed man right there. Yet no matter how suspicious his actions in the present may seem, they prove nothing about the past.
Yeah, but... And what about you, Mr. Fender? There must be something we can do.
You're right. We may not have evidence, but we have plenty of intel. Let's see here. Gustav killed Frost. He must have had a reason. Miles always has a duty on hand, so he's gonna be gone for the next 30 minutes or so. I wish I had an inner word that could put these together.
That can't really be true, can it?
If he did it, he has one. Not many people commit murder just for funsies. In fact, your old man had a little back and forth with Von Koma about a probable motive too, remember?
How can you possibly say that with any certainty? If their relationship had broken down for some reason, that could very well have been the motive behind this murder.
Von Kama wouldn't let us talk to Gusto back then, but we can now. If we can put the pieces together, I think the picture will be sublime.
Yes, I think you might be right. It will be sublime. I need to think back over everything we know about the ISIS incident, especially the questions that never got answered.
The finger marks. Were you the one who was wearing the gloves?
Ow!
Miss Scone denied that the finger marks on the frame were hers. But what if they were Mr. Gusto's? Perhaps he had wanted to take a look through the ultimate cookbook for himself.
who wouldn't?
The ultimate cookbook of what?
Of
Marks!
So he asked me to put in a new cartridge. He didn't understand how the cameras worked. You don't get a new cartridge, you get a new camera. You seem to think that there should have been more shots left in it than there were, because there's only one.
In other words, the film ran out sooner than he expected because there was only one thing of film.
Yeah, the number of shots he took didn't line up with his expectations.
Lower your
But
expectations.
he thought maybe he just lost track somewhere along the way.
My father noticed these things for a reason. I just need to piece them together correctly. In the absence of evidence, it's the only way to the truth. If there's no evidence, then we will create some.
The favor was never returned.
So, corporation and motive?
Cooperation?
That's what I meant.
I was thinking
Yes.
cooperation in the cookbook is like a two-part motive. And then we can
Sure.
combine that with murderer's motive, maybe.
Shing!
Nope.
There's no logic here, what? There's no logic here, what?
Mr. Gusto, you and Mr. Frost conspired to create works for the contest together, did you not?
Oh, so you know my little secret.
Everyone knows your little secret, Mr. Gusto. Mr. Fender was kind enough to inform me. Mr. Frost was in charge of the designs while you were in charge of the flavor. Is that correct?
What can I say? I still had a long way to travel on the road to becoming a master confectioner.
But you only collaborated up through the semifinal. Something changed after that.
I'm not very good with knives, that's why I have so many scars. We both wanted to show what we could do, but my fancy knife work only ended up hurting myself.
Then why did you help Mr. Frost with his entry for the final if the knives were dangerous?
What grounds could you possibly have to say something like that?
Your own statement made to Mr. Von Carme 18 years ago. You told him that you'd been working together right up until the day before the final.
Mr. Frost's entry was carved entirely from blocks of flavored ice. Ice which would have needed at least a day to freeze. And whose flavors would therefore have already been prepared by Mr. Gusto himself.
Yes, which lines up perfectly with what Gusto told me. That he helped Frost until the day before the final.
In that case, why didn't Mr. Frost reciprocate and help Mr. Gusto in return? It would have only been fair.
Objection.
I could hardly be expected to read the minds of the dead.
Allow me to, then. You know what? On second thought, I'm not
What?
going to do that.
I was about to be impressed.
So why did Mr. Frost help you in return? I submit that your relationship broke down for some reason. And that became the basis of your motive for murder.
That's not how it was at all. Sure, we stopped working together, but it was all perfectly friendly.
You stopped working together in a friendly way? What does that even mean?
Besides, how do you think I did it exactly? You think I just strolled into Tangroth's room and then just killed whoever that person was? Tangroth. I couldn't have killed the man while Tangroth was in there while working on his chocolate pieces, now could I? It would have been entirely too cocky of a move. So you see, it couldn't have possibly been me.
I wouldn't be so sure. He really thinks it wasn't him, but I think it was him.
I don't believe him.
If I can prove it, I can prove that Mr. Gusto had the opportunity to kill Mr. Frost.
He has a little seahorse tattoo on his left hand. The timing. Wait, what is the remaining exposures? Oh. Yeah. Yeah. Or not.
Nope.
Wah, 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 wah.
He wanted the cookbook.
Yes. Maybe.
Nope. Bruh. I wonder what it could be.
Oh, did someone else use the oh, so he took pictures of it.
Photographing the cookbook's contents would be the perfect way to steal its secrets undetected. And what of Mr. Gusto? Then just that. What if he used Mr. Tangroth's camera to photograph the book?
It'd be the perfect crime! So much better than stealing it and getting chased by the coppers.
A sneaky sharp shot or 20, huh? I guess that could work if you had 20 of those cameras.
The only question is, when would he have done it?
That's a good question. What about, during afternoon tea? Didn't Alicia say that Gustav and Frosty had missed out on the little tea party that they'd had?
Oh yes, I did say that.
Which brings me to the next question. When do we know for certain that Mr. Frost was still alive?
Then, after the contest began, nobody saw hide nor hair of Frost as he had secluded himself in his room. The only person capable of entering his locked room was Tangroth, possessing as he did the only key.
The only key.
Miss Scone, were Mr. Tangroth's works the only ones you sampled?
No dear, I couldn't help myself. When I finished my afternoon tea, I tiptoed over to Chillywink's room for a little taste too.
What's the sound of my tiptoes?
Mr. Frost had kept to himself inside his room after the contest had started, but he was gone by the time Miss Scone snuck into it to sample his work. Meaning there's a good chance he was murdered before the end of afternoon tea. The best time for murder.
I don't think we ever said it. Hey, dude, how are you doing? We're glad you made it.
Hey, dude.
In any case, we never said it out loud.
Yeah, hey, KS. Also, hey, let's see her. I don't think we said that one either.
Listen her.
If we had some afternoon tea, baby.
We can be sure that Mr. Frost was alive until the beginning of afternoon tea, making tea time the only window during which Mr. Gusto could have killed him.
Are you satisfied with Mr. Gusto's story now, Mr. Edgeworth?
Sadly, after sitting here for 5 minutes thinking in silence, I'm afraid I'm still rather unsatisfied. But
Oh
things
my
are finally
goodness.
starting to become clear, and the truth will soon become light at last.
Preferably before my lifetime's over. You mean to say you uncovered new evidence?
Evidence? No!
Oh my
Where
goodness.
we're going, we don't need evidence. I was hoping I could just convince Mr. Gusto to confess to the murder himself.
Oh yeah, that would really help our case, wouldn't it? This is one of those mind games, isn't it?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah.
Mr. Gusto, I have a question for you. Do you play mind chess? I said, do you play mind chess?
What is it?
You chose to make your entry for the final on your own.
I told you I wanted to test myself. I wanted to prove that I was the best in the world.
If that were the case, then surely you wouldn't have chosen to cheat in the first place. So tell me, Mr. Gusto, why did you feel the need to team up with Mr. Frost? Welcome to the mind.
Why is it so empty here?
Because it's yours.
Oh, I thought it was mine.
Oh, how the table turns have tabled.
Wait, nope, you're right. I think I went the wrong direction. Yes, this is Wiener's mind. Mind of a wiener.
Look, you can watch him play his video game from over there.
That's the only thing here. Wow.
And faint traces of Baby Shark going on.
18 years ago.
Baby shark, do 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 do
Mr. Frost
do do do,
collaborated
baby
with a
shark.
confectionery contest.
Oh yeah.
Why did they work together, and why did they enter the contest in the first place? That's the
Why
information I need
indeed?
to get of my opponent somehow.
Let's think about this together, Edgeworth.
I've made a huge mistake.
I believe the blunder was both of ours.
Wow, that's a lot of pieces.
But we're gonna be able to play actual chess by the end of this game.
This is
Mr.
more
Gusto,
things than he's ever had in his brain at one time.
pretending to be asleep when things aren't going his way. Let's start by focusing on why he chose to work with Mr. Frost. By my hand, now is the time to dig up the truth that was buried all those years ago. Mind chess, commence! Why did you collaborate, Mr. Gusto?
We were acquainted before we were contestants. I was interested in entering the contest, so we decided to sign up together as brothers.
And your decision to pair up with a sculptor had nothing to do with your lack of faith in your skills.
My skills are second to none. You don't know me, you don't know what I've been through. We joined forces in order to combat evil. We wanted to make the most perfect creations possible, that is all.
Probably buy it. He looks agitated.
I'll expose all your lies in the end, Mr. Gusto. It's only a matter of time.
No. Sorry. Wanted to see if I could do an impression of you. Turns out it's easy.
Okay, I thought he was
Ow.
saying we needed to bide when he was pretending to sleep. I see.
Acquaintances together. Best contract possible.
True.
How could we never have possibly kept up with it? Frosty's son and mine were in the same grade school together. Little Timmy and little Bobby. So we got along pretty well.
So you were just two friends who happened to try for the title of World's Greatest Confectioner, and also both have sons.
That is correct. Little
Timmy
Timmy was
and
clearly
Bobby.
superior than little Bobby.
Wait, which one was yours?
It is unclear.
Little Timmy was the better one, even though Little Bobby was technically mine, so I adopted Little Timmy instead.
Pretending to be asleep when the going gets tough won't work on me, I'm afraid. Mr. Frost was a sculptor, Mr. Gusto. I doubt he cared much about winning a title for confectioners, in which case he probably had a different motive for taking part in the contest. Wouldn't you say?
Oh, that was a good shot. Fine. It was me. I wanted that title. Frost was only in it for the prize, the ultimate cookbook of marks.
I see. And now that you're back awake again, you said you adopted your friend's son. And gave him yours?
I stand by my statement.
And then you murdered him. I take it he wanted his son back?
Well, little Bobby was clearly the better pupil. Of course he'd want his son back. I am still quite unwell after the brush with death. I'm a little too gassed. Push me too hard. I'll be on my way back to the medical room.
No, wait. Don't go
You'd
to the
better
medical
wrap
room.
this up quickly. But why? Do you know medical techniques? You might have to give me mouth to mouth. Alright, go back to the medical room.
Mr. Gusto is trying desperately to make his escape, but he's not going anywhere yet. Mr. Gusto, my hands act as defibrillators, don't worry.
I like how you said it out loud. He's trying to go back to the medical room, but I won't let him.
I shuffle across the carpet and then I slap your chest, and the electric static shock is enough to be
Wow,
defibrillated.
that's solid.
There's no time to lose. I need to pick the right line of questioning, and also fast.
I mean, to be fair, your patience meter got put all the way up.
It's running out fast though.
You wanted to appear on Mr. Tangro's TV show, didn't you?
How did you know? Cooking conga.
Innerworth, was that you? I believe it was called Bacon Bop.
You really think people would have wanted to watch me dance like an idiot while I work?
I know what to do.
It might have been a bit much for the young viewers, but boy, for the adults that would have been entertaining.
That's what I thought. Listen, I know what I am good at, and prancing around on TV is definitely one of my strong suits. But I will not frolic for just anybody. Because it certainly isn't you who's asking the right questions here.
Touchy, Mr. Gusto.
No, do not touch.
Touche.
I need to choose my words more carefully. I must study my opponent's reactions and pick my own responses accordingly. You too had your eyes on something other than the title, didn't you? After all,
Little
I'm not
Bobby.
sure the title of World's Greatest Confectioner even counts for that much.
Oh, now you're insulting the way of the confectioner. My goal, my only goal, was to win that title. I didn't care about anything else. You have no idea what I've been through, how much I've struggled, how much Little Bobby meant to me.
It was little Bobby, man.
Look, my sense of design may not have been up to snuff back then, but you should see me now.
Oh? You've improved.
I've improved by leaps and bounds. I don't do all training in Zhengfar for nothing. I looked up to Tangroth, you know. I spent hours poring over the designs of his work. Even used to watch his show with my son, Little Bobby.
But
Little
Bobby
Timmy
wasn't
never
your
was there
son.
watching.
It sounds to me like Mr. Tango's work was especially influential in your early studies, and with his recipe book, you might have even become the best someday.
Oh, maybe. The book was a real treasure, no doubt about that. Any confectioner would have wanted it.
You're already cooked.
You claim that your only goal was to win the title, yet you also seem to have had an interest in the contest prize, the ultimate cookbook of marks.
Yes, they did, for some reason, decide to put Little Bobby up as the ultimate prize. They tried to say I was not a good father because I got rid of Little Timmy.
He's
But-
the ultimate cookbook of marks.
But I knew that I had to win him back somehow.
I see.
Little Bobby wrote the ultimate cookbook of marks.
The greatest collection of recipes by the world's greatest confectioner.
Following the teachings of the
Little
cookbook
Bobby.
of marks, They said, he is not your son, he is our son.
I can't say I had absolutely no interest in it at all. Even if I did, what exactly is so wrong up with it?
Nothing, I suppose. Only that the book contained recipes for medicines, and a government structure, and a society, and also poison gas.
Kind of all over the place.
There's a
Everyone
reason why
with
they
this
call it the
context
ultimate book.
Supposedly knew that. I mean, it does make sense. I feel like I'm finally getting somewhere. I can't let him slip from my grasp now. I just need to stay calm and keep the pressure on. Ooh, I should make that into a shirt. That's good. Keep calm and pressure on. I'm not sure what it means in that phrasing, but I like it. Next, let's find out why he wanted the cookbook.
We all want to be
Know how
cooked.
valuable the cookbook really was.
What kind of question is that? It was a collection of the Tingros recipes.
I just want to take a moment to say how thankful I am that I'm not voicing this guy too. This would be a
You
nightmare
cut
if I
out there
was
that you're not voicing who?
that I'm not voicing this
Gusto.
guy too.
Oh,
This would be a
okay.
nightmare if I was having to voice both of these characters.
There wasn't a confectioner in the world who wouldn't have wanted to get their hands on it.
I don't have a clue as to how to proceed with this line of questioning. I'd better try another tack.
This one's pretty sharp.
So your plan was to win the cookbook and use it to help you with your own creations.
What else? A book like that could have improved my craft tenfold. No, 11-fold.
You could have made a lot better sons if you'd sold it.
I've already tried that. I told you, Little Timmy was failure. I don't know how much about what was actually in there is useful to me, but I was willing to bet everything. It was worth the money, I'll tell you that.
There go my savings. Totally worth
5 mortgages on my home.
5 mortgages. No, my interest rate is through the roof.
I cannot even enter a bank without all of them pulling out weapons and pointing them in my general
Telling me
direction.
to leave. Blink, 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 blink.
10-fold, 11-fold, 20-fold.
Come now, Mr. Gusto. I think you know more about the Ultimate Cookbook than you claim.
No.
Wapa!
They told us a little about it at the start of the contest, I suppose.
Then you know what kind of recipes it actually contained, didn't you? And they weren't dessert recipes at all.
So what if it was a recipe on how to construct another little Bobby? I see you did your homework. Fine. As you know what was really in there. The Ultimate Cookbook of Marx, or the Marx Cookbook, to give it its proper title. It's a collection of chemical formulas and ways to synthesize new medicines nobody has ever thought of.
So he did know that the cookbook actually contained recipes for medicines. This could be an important clue.
The Book of Us.
Did you know how valuable the cookbook really was?
What kind of a question is that? It was a collection of Tingros recipes. There wasn't a confectioner in the entire world who wouldn't have wanted to get their hands on it.
Time to deploy my clue.
Are you pulling out a pistol? Not you two. Are you at the bank?
Your designs may have improved thanks to your training in Jingfa, but you clearly didn't do enough work on your skills of deception. You've already admitted that you knew the Ultimate Cookbook was a collection of recipes for medicines. Thereby making your interest not gastronomical, but pharmaceutical in nature. And yet you still got astronomically gassed today.
Pharmaceutically.
All of this is
Astronomically
true.
gassed pharmaceutically.
I think we.
You're a confectioner, Mr. Gusto. You had no professional interest in revolutionary medicine.
This is a Harry Potter spin-off. You're a confectioner, Gusto.
Which suggests that your interest must have been personal.
I underestimated you. Fine, you're right. I needed those medications. Winning the title wasn't the only reason that I entered the contest. I needed one of the recipes in that book. It was for my hemorrhoids.
For your... Tell me more.
It's not really any of your business. I've told you as much as you need to know. The details are pretty gruesome.
He looks rattled. But I can't let him off the hook. Let's find out what this mystery illness was. We'll just call it a mystery generic illness if it makes you feel more comfortable. I've almost gotten to the bottom of this. I can feel it. Just a few more moves.
What is the name of your son? Which one?
So you needed the cookbook to cure your son.
That's right. Nowadays, you can get the medication he needs nowhere. Or anywhere. Everywhere. But back then, that book, it was our only hope. Which is why I didn't dare waste my time on fancy tea parties. I had to give all of it to my work.
And what about Mr. Tangrowth's work? Surely that tea break gave you the perfect opportunity to go steal a glance.
And what makes you think I had the energy or time to care about what the others had made? I'm still recovering. So if you've got nothing to say, let me go back to the medical room.
I think you've made it abundantly clear how much interest you had in Mr. Tangrowth's work. What's more, if you were that determined to win the ultimate cookbook, I seriously doubt you would have passed up on a chance to take a peek at your competitors.
Oh. I had plenty of chances throughout the contest to see and sample my rivals' work, as you know. But each time I did, nothing seemed to have any flavor. Must have been nerves or something.
Nothing Mr. Gusto tasted had any flavor. Seems like it could be an important clue. Tell me a little more about your son.
Little Bobby was my pride and joy.
Not Bobby.
He was my biggest fan. Wait, not Little Bobby. Who are you talking about?
You entered the contest in order to help him.
You clearly don't have any children of your own. Any father would have done the same. I would have done anything to help Little Bobby. Anything.
Very convincing.
He would come to see me here at the contest venue, too, right up through the semi-final.
Really, he didn't get in the way of your work. If you were trying to beat Samson Tangrowth, I surely think you didn't have the time to look after a child.
Little Bobby is so good he can look after himself. I wanted to do what I could for him. He said he wanted to always be the first to try my creations. Press him.
Should we press him? He looks very concerned.
Press him.
Press him.
You said your son was sick, Mr. Gusto, and yet he was able to come and join you for the contest.
Nice.
Oh, it wasn't that kind of an illness. Nothing life-threatening anyways.
This feels like it could be an important clue.
Last but not least, what was the name of your son's condition?
What was the name of your son?
Could you tell me the name of the disease your son suffered from?
Not mine-itis.
You're a real cold customer, Mr. Prosecutor. Isn't it enough that he was seriously ill? Why would you force me to tell you more?
It wasn't life-threatening, was it?
You gotta click fast. Your time's going
Is
down.
it- I don't know. I might need to
I'm
buy it.
pretty
I'm
sure
not
it's that one.
I think you just deploy your clues now.
You've already shared with me that your son's illness wasn't life-threatening. So why are you so reluctant to share any further details?
It may not have been life-threatening, but that doesn't mean it hadn't been life-altering.
I see. It must have been very hard on both of you.
Of course it was. That was why I did everything I could to find a cure. We were desperate. He couldn't taste anything. Not even his favorite desserts.
When the time comes, deploy the clue, like immediately. You do not have any time.
We have like 10 seconds.
Oh, okay, that's more than I thought.
Nope.
As I understand it, the Ultimate Cookbook contains the recipe for a very particular medication. One that Mr. Tangrowth used to cure himself of own taste disorder.
So, he had it too.
2, you say? So your son has a taste disorder then, am I correct?
How could I possibly have let that slip?
You've been asking me to believe that you needed to win the cookbook in order to cure your son. But was that really your son?
Bubby is mine.
Of course, little Bubby is my son. What are you possibly trying to say?
I'm saying that I want to know what was wrong with your other son as well. Time to deploy my clue.
You gotta just hit it.
Woo!
Nice.
Taste disorders are difficult to live with. It isn't easy not being able to enjoy your food. You should know, after all. You just told me you'd experienced something like that during the contest. You said that nothing you sampled had any flavor. Those were your words, correct? Orders seem to suggest that you were suffering from a taste disorder.
It's still not over. We're gonna have to go through all this again, aren't we?
Without a sense of taste, well, I think we'll heal. A confection without
I
a
sure
sense
hope
of
so.
taste, not exactly ideal. Are you sure it wasn't actually your own condition you were seeking a cure for, Mr. Gusto?
I've had enough of your speculations. I managed just fine in that contest. Made all my own entries, no problems.
It was literally the only one that you had enough time to press other than by time.
Sorry, but I'm afraid you're contraindicating your own testimony. You already admitted that you and Mr. Frost had worked together during the contest. It's too late to claim you did all of it on your own now.
Oh, no!
Fraction of He has a seahorse on his hand.
Oh yeah, look at that.
You would have us believe that you are a man of principle, a dedicated student of the confectioner's art. Yet you abandoned your son and stole a new one.
It's right.
All you could cure were your own taste disorder.
Little Timmy was expendable. You've got me, Mr. Prosecutor. As you said, my sense of taste was shut completely. Never try sea slugs. My son's was completely fine. I'd kept it hidden for so long. 18 years. Nobody knew.
Sadly, you can lie to others, but you can't lie to me. Both Mr. Gusto and Mr. Frost entered the contest hoping to obtain the ultimate cookbook for the medicine that would cure Mr. Gusto's disorder and the money would bring in for Mr. Frost.
Ultimate cookbook? I don't know about an ultimate cookbook.
Thus an uneasy alliance was forged. And that, I believe, is checkmate. Oh yeah.
That's the stuff, baby.
Mind
But you were
chess
talking
checkmate.
about the cookbook of Marx. Somebody mentioned the ultimate cookbook of Marx.
Oh, did somebody say the cookbook marks?
I'll admit it, you're good. I never told anybody any of this, but you figure it all out anyway. It's true. 18 years ago, I developed a juicia.
A juicy
you.
what?
Lucia.
I think you're making words up.
It's a taste disorder that makes it so you can't taste anything at all. A confectioner's worst nightmare.
Mr. Fender, is this what Mr. Tangrowth had as well?
No, the big man had what they call dissociated taste dissociation disorder. Basically, some things he could taste just fine, while others had no flavor at all. So he suffered too. It could not have been easy. Not when there is a way, not when there was no way to cure it on the market.
Remarkable how many confectioners that can't taste get into this field.
Especially when it's not all the same, illness
Uh-huh.
Or bloodline.
or
You
bloodline.
admit now that that was the real reason you entered the contest.
It was only one of the reasons. I wasn't lying when I said I wanted the title. When I put my mind to something, it gets done, and I won't lose to anybody. I may not have been able to taste it then, but I still knew my stuff was good enough to win.
Oh, so you went into the final thinking you stood a good chance of winning.
Of course.
What was it that Fender said about what Mr. Tangro thought of Mr. Gusto's creation?
Ha! Quite the sentence.
Mr. Gusto's creation was a perfect balance of flavor and design, at least up through the semi-final. But disappointingly, his entry for the final, it was subpar on both counts. We were told that your entry for the final was far from the prize-winning taste sensation you describe.
Oh, who blasphemes?
What happened, Mr. Gusto? What went wrong that day?
Everything. You want me to talk? I'll talk. But you're not going to like what I have to say.
I'll be the judge of that.
Mr. Frost sabotaged him, put a bunch of salt into his ice sculpture.
He had no
And
idea.
so he
My
killed
entry.
him. He killed him in revenge.
Frost and I were working together, right up through the semi-final. I handled the flavor, he did the designing. But I wanted to face Tangrowth in the final on my own. No help, just me and my skills. So I helped Frost with his entry, but mine, I did alone. If it didn't taste good in the final, then that was on me. What can I say? I guess I lacked training. And taste buds. And that's all there is to it. Are you happy now?
There doesn't seem to be any obvious contraindications in his testimony.
That's true. No contraindications as far as the eye can see. He's managed to not let anything slip for about what really happened for 18 years.
Why were you two staring at each other for 10 minutes?
Why don't you try pushing him a little bit, Mazarino? Maybe that'll get his attention. See if you can't shake something loose.
I think I might just have to shake something loose.
Shake it out, shake it out.
Frost and I were working together right up through the semi-final. I handled the flavor. He did the modeling.
Frost was in charge of designing the work you both submitted while you handled the taste.
That is correct. He was a sculptor, a craftsman, and his sense of design was second to none. But he was clueless about confectionery, which is where I came in. We each did what the other couldn't. And boy, did you not have an eye for aesthetics. Not even for the simple stuff that was horrendous on the eye holes. How do you like me now?
The national symbol of Jingfa.
Oh yeah, it's a phoenix. Wow, that's awesome.
I'll say, pretty different to the stuff you were pumping out 18 years ago. Behold the fruits of my training. I've dedicated my entire life to my craft. But back then, we both needed each other's help. So we joined Hans until the final.
Who is Hans?
But I wanted to face Tangrowth in the final on my own. No help, just me and my skills.
My skills.
You were serious about
What
winning
is
the
he?
title then.
Of course, the art of confectionery is my life. Why wouldn't I have wanted to be crowned the greatest? But I still had a lot to learn back then. I guess it's no surprise my work wasn't up to scratch.
But the title wasn't the only thing you wanted. There was the cookbook too. And you wanted the book even more than you wanted the title, isn't that right, Mr. Gusto?
Haven't we already talked about all of this?
Mr. Edgeworth, you are badgering a witness who is still suffering from the effects of being gassed. I cannot allow this harassment to continue.
I understand, Your Honor, but...
Ignore him, Mr. Gusto. You need not answer that vile prosecutor's question.
Vile? What are you talking about? I've helped you so much.
Honestly, I don't know either. But please do continue your testimony in your own time.
So I helped Frost with his entry. But mine, I did it all alone.
So you're saying Mr. Frost didn't help you at all, but he'd helped you up until then, correct? It's a bit strange for him to stop so late in the contest, no?
Strange or not, it's the truth. Goody Could be he had his reasons too. I wouldn't know. I am not he. If he's lying, it's gonna be a headache to prove. 18 years is a long time. Not unless that gizmo of yours has a built-in lie detector, Kay.
Of course he does, but the IRS just doesn't just hand that feature out to everyone.
Don't worry, Fender. I can tell when he's lying. No doohickeys required. No doohickey.
Did you just say that you want to give me a hickey?
No doohickey assistance required. Okay, please stop being my doohickey assistant. Please, Mr. Gusto, continue your
What?
testimony.
I didn't, that was, oh, okay.
If it didn't taste good in the final, that's on me. What can I say? I lacked the training.
And yet, I heard that your creations prior to the final were scored highly for their flavor. So what went wrong? Was there some kind of cooking accident on that day?
No, nothing like that. It was... I told you, I had a taste disorder. My sense of taste failed me. It's as simple as that.
But Mr. Frost's entry was complimented on its flavor. Your sense of taste hadn't failed you then. Did something happen overnight?
Oh.
I don't think he's gonna spill any more beans, Mr. Edgeworth.
Perhaps I should ask him about something else.
We should squeeze him.
You knew Mr. Frost from before the contest, correct?
You remembered, I see.
You just told me 3 minutes ago.
My son and Frost used to go to elementary school together.
It was no coincidence that you both entered the contest, correct?
That is correct. I heard about it first, then I told Frost. Because I am first and faster. I know he'd be interested. He was always short on cash for his sculptures.
That's right. Mr. Frost was supposedly always in financial trouble, wasn't he?
The cookbook is really worth that much, huh? Interesting.
See that glint in your eye, kiddo? Don't get your great thieving hopes up. And if you do, be sure to go halvesies with me. These days, you can find most of the stuff in there on any drugstore shelf.
Oh, bummer.
So literally every last contestant only ever had eyes for that cookbook, I see.
They did
An
too.
18-year-old mystery. And the key to unraveling it is finally in my grasp. I just need to remember everything.
It's as simple as that.
Too easy.
Did you press the last one? Or
Yeah.
did I add another one? Okay.
Objection!
You object to little Bubby?
There they are. Little Timmy and little Bobby.
Wait, which is which?
Do you remember everything?
I don't remember everything.
I don't remember anything. Yeah, the top one.
Did something change between the semifinal and the final, Mr. Gusto?
Not really. I'm glad we had this chat.
Oh, they changed the last one.
The only difference between the semi-final and the final was that Frost wasn't helping me.
So you really completed your final entry without Mr. Frost's help?
I may not have had his designs to lean on, but I knew I was still solid when it came to flavor. So the visuals were the only thing that changed between the semi-final and the final.
What do you mean?
You sure, Gutsy, old pal, friend, amigo? Gonna have to call you out on that one, I'm afraid. It wasn't just his looks that got a big thumbs down come judgment time. He got trashed on flavor, too.
Doesn't sound much like a wiener to me. Oh no, Eustace is rubbing off.
Despite his confidence, Mr. Gusto failed on flavor too. The lack of Mr. Frost's assistance shouldn't have affected that. So was there some other difference? An 18-year-old mystery, and the key to unraveling it is finally in my grasp. I just need to remember everything.
Wow, it literally changes the last prompt for you.
Yeah, that's weird. Alright, what would be reflecting the flavor changing? He stuck candy in it.
Candy!
Good luck on this one.
That one, he added blood. It made it sweeter. Are we on the right prompt?
You are on the right prompt.
Hey!
You changed it to the correct one.
So let's see, Frost. Who was Frost again?
Frost is the dead guy. He's the sculptor.
So he did something that made it taste better. Without knowing it when he sculpted. So he scraped off the chemicals. People have been eating the chemicals. That's why it's tasteless.
I mean, I don't like when it says that you have to remember everything. You really do have to remember everything.
The only difference between semi-final and final is that Frost wasn't helping me.
Dun, 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 dun.
The rock salt lamp. It got added in as flavoring.
Somebody did
Or
mention
maybe-
something was really salty at one point.
Victim's body was found in the creation, leading arrest. In detention, discovered taste disorder, which was cured. Was this back then? It was cured. So the Paul Halik, renowned sculptor, contestant contest, body discovered in the room, cause of death was bleed out.
I don't like your testimony.
Then do something about it. You're no match for me.
My father didn't even talk to you. That was like kind of the whole thing.
It's the prosecutor badge, isn't it?
It has to be. You see, I am a prosecutor.
Which sculpture did he make?
Did Gusto make?
Yeah.
We don't know. It hasn't shown us.
Oh.
Well, he didn't make a sculpture. He made a like sugar creation.
Y'all, I mean,
It had to be something done by, the girl, right? Dobby?
I think that y'all are remembering the wrong pieces of information. Like,
Alright.
I really don't think that you'll get it by
Throw us in.
So, like, if he was certain that it tasted good, but he can't taste,
So someone else had to have tasted it for him?
right, and now, so, like, the question becomes who tasted it for him. Because it wasn't Frost anymore, right? Because
So
they weren't helping each
it's
other.
the picture of him and the kids?
Yeah.
Because they...
Okay, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know why that's what we're bringing up now, but like,
Because, I don't know if it'll say it or not, but apparently the sun had disappeared during the finals as well. And that's what you're supposed to remember.
Uh-huh.
oh yeah,
And
I
so
do not remember that.
The sun disappeared at the finals, and then the tasting got worse.
Oh.
I can think of one significant difference between the semifinal and the final, Mr. Gusto. Your son.
Little booby.
These are him in the photograph, correct? You told me they was here with you up through the semifinal.
He was. What of it?
What indeed? He was here with you until the semifinal, until he suddenly wasn't for the final. And just as suddenly your work went from being lauded for its flavor to being lamb-basted. It was basted in lamb juice.
Lambasted!
I don't think that's a coincidence to you.
Are you trying to say that it tasted like lamb?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. He wasn't just spending quality time with his father, he was playing a much more pivotal role than that. Whoa.
I just wanted to see me hard at work. To show him I was trying my best for us.
For us. For the Soviet Union.
Who knows? Maybe it was him being here that helped me to do so well in those early rounds.
He talks a good game, but nothing about this guy screams super dad to me.
Indeed. Thankfully, we would only have to give such an idea credence if his story were true.
It was the fact that he switched sons that tipped me off.
After all, how much could the encouragement of one small boy affect the taste of a grown man's work? Mr. Gusto prided himself on the flavor of his creations, but then he lost a sense of taste. He must have had a tough time maintaining his high standards after such a devastating loss, unless... I'm sure your son was here to cheer you on, but that wasn't all he was here to do, was it?
You're a very suspicious man, Mr. Prosecutor. But why not try answering yourself for a change? What was an elementary school kid doing here, other than to support his father?
Just to steal other people's creations. He's a kleptomaniac.
To be used as an ingredient in your creation.
That is why I had a little Timmy.
He was
Your
a very
original
sweet
son,
boy.
Timony. Your original son, Timmy, knew the taste of your work pretty well, I imagine, Mr. Gusto.
Oh, he was my biggest fan. Of course he knew it.
In which case, someone with such a taste for your work would be a great taste for your work.
Those words do check out completely.
I like your words, Magic
What
Man.
are you implying?
You've already told us you were suffering from a taste disorder.
I did say that, did I not? I'll admit it, you are good. I never told anybody any of this, but you figured it all out anyways. It's true. 18 years ago, I developed ajusia.
No one
It is
knew
where
about
you
your
put too much
condition.
au jus sauce in everything, and you can no longer taste.
Mr. Frost would have wanted to continue collaborating with you if he had found out. After all, it was your job to make sure his creations tasted good. Therefore, your son wasn't just here to support you. He was helping you by being the taste of your work.
How could you have possibly figured that out? Oh! Well, daggum, that all makes sense now. Frost's stuff tasted good because it really was finished the day before, when the kid was still here. We call him the kid, by the way, because I have no idea who that little boy is. You have a vivid imagination, Mr. Prosecutor. But do you seriously think I'd trust a kid to tell me how to adjust the taste of my masterpiece? I have some pride, you know, even back then.
Did you now?
No, I am just making all of this up. My designs may not have been much to write home about back then, but I always knew my work tasted better than anybody else's. You think I'd risk everything by putting my reputation in the hands of a child? A child such as little Timmy? This is just more speculation. That's all it is.
In that case, I asked to speak with your manager. Let's see how much of your story he can corroborate.
I refuse. Sadly for you, my son is no longer with us.
What?
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 Sadly for me.
As soon as I got my sense of taste back, I went straight home and sent him overseas. I cut off all ties with him for good.
What?
You abandoned your own child
He was no puppy.
after using him as an ingredient.
I had already abandoned him once, what was one more time abandoning him? And if that ain't the half of it, no one knows where he is, even now. The cops have looked everywhere for him, but no dice. So, still think that you can prove your S9 theory? I would like to see you try. You think I care about anything besides confectionery? Think again. I got my sense of taste back then. What need do I have for a son?
Silence in the courtroom. While Mr. Gusto's words and actions may demonstrate a certain lack of humanity on his part, the goddess of justice
The government?
cannot judge him for that.
No, we can't.
Therefore, Mr. Edgeworth, I believe it's time for you to wind down now.
Yeah, give it up. 18 years is a long time for anything to surface now, proof or otherwise.
Mr. Edgeworth, we've gotta do something! If we don't, the truth might be lost forever!
Where are
That's
you,
the best you
Detective
got?
Gumshoe?
Gunner?
I can't imagine whose blood it could possibly be, but I'll get it tested right away, sir.
Please do, Detective. See you never.
In green text.
Where could he possibly be?
That's the last piece of the puzzle, I'm sure of it. Once we know whose blood it is.
Hey, Miles. Sorry to cut into your mind, Palestine. I was pondering something myself in my humble-minded abode. Our friend Gustav didn't come here just to check up on the body, did he?
Who's Gustav? Oh, right. You mean because he tried to open the case?
Exactamundo. It's crazy how our minds link like that and we just come to the conclusive answer together.
If Detective Gumshoe can make it back in time with a certain piece of evidence...
That's quite enough idle chat at defense. Now, if you would please.
Mr. Edgeworth, sir! Sorry to keep you waiting!
I'm excited and disappointed at the same time.
Yeah, that about sums up my character.
Doing.
Speak of the devil. This one is worse. I take it you have the test results, Detective.
Yes, sir! The lab just got back to me.
Detective, please. Court is in session. We do have standards here. Now then, am I right to assume that you are bringing us the evidence Mr. Edgeworth was speaking of?
What? Hey, no fair! Why didn't anybody tell me about this? I did mention it when we were at GameStop together.
Gumshoe, you went to GameStop?
Of course I went to GameStop.
I didn't
They
give you
had
money.
Game Boy Advance games. Name one other GameStop that still has those.
I mean, true, but you don't have money. What are you doing there?
I window shop.
The
Oh.
exchange system. I have one game and I swap it around.
Well, what the? Why is everyone always helping you out? I'm supposed to be the one in charge. I was assigned this case.
Nobody likes a sore wiener. Sorry I didn't involve you, but this is important. Can we at least hear what the detective has to say?
Well, all right.
It's true.
So, Detective Gumshoe, what do the tests have to tell us?
The boys at the lab agreed with you. Nobody likes a sore wiener. But they also said the owner of the blood we found in the liquid at the bottom of the Gemini case is... Ooh, pause for dramatic effect. Carmelo Gusto, the victim of the poison gas attack.
What are you talking about?
Thank you, Detective. You've been very helpful.
Helpful enough to get a pay raise?
Don't be ridiculous. It looks like my
might have-
suspicions were correct.
We might have to do a speed up.
What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth?
I don't know. Yes, what do you mean? Explain yourself. What is the significance of this blood to this case?
It's only the very thing the perpetrator of the ISIS incident has been trying to hide all these years.
You.
The fact
Me.
that your blood was found inside the Gemini case, Mr. Gusto, is as good as us finding your blood lying right next to Mr. Frost's body.
Why would there be traces of your blood there of all places, Mr. Gusto? I trusted you.
If you won't answer, Her Honor, Mr. Gusto, I will. There wasn't just blood in the liquid from the Gemini case. There were traces of salt and sugar, too.
There were?
And if you remember, one particular part of Mr. Frost's work was allegedly very salty indeed.
Oh yeah, those harpsichord strings. You're talking about what Delacy told us back then, right?
Did they ever? I've never tried ice so scrumptious in all my life.
Really, man, I wish I could have had a bite of that.
Well, scrumptious except for the salty bit, of course. That was unbearable.
The salty bit?
It's in the other photo you've got there. This
Froggy?
is a poppy thing. Look, I put a circle on it.
Gemini's liar.
Yes, thank you, Gregory, the liar. And only the liar tastes as if it had been flavored with salt. There
Just
were
call
no
your father,
traces
Gregory.
of salt anywhere else in Mr. Frost's entry.
I'm gonna have to slap a boy.
Very interesting. Then perhaps you could tell us, Mr. Edgeworth. Where did the salt on the lawyer come from?
Tears.
Salty tears. I mean, it has to be blood, right?
Salt from the blood?
I mean, it would have to be, right?
Blood isn't salty.
really.
I
It'd
mean,
have
I
to be
guess.
this.
Yeah, the salt lamp.
Oh, okay.
This is a lamp from the Oasis incident.
Indeed, and I believe that the salt that gave the lyre its flavor came from just such a lamp.
So it kinda
Mr.
was-
Von Carme had established that both salt lamps were in Mr. Tangrowth's room at the time of the crime. One of them was used to kill Mr. Frost. And it was stained with his blood. But no corresponding pool of blood was found in Mr. Tangrowth's room.
Right, because the culprit had chucked a piece of chocolate with it on into the little stream.
Furthermore, aside from the lyre, no traces of salt were found anywhere else in Mr. Frost's room either.
Ugh. Hey, come to think of it, the lamps we found in Alicia's room were both broken.
The lamp appears to be broken.
Thank you, Gregory.
Bulbs are smashed. Both of them.
Bubba, smash.
Ah, the smash. Maybe they fell and broke on the floor.
Like how his accent changes.
We never did figure out how the one that wasn't used to kill Frost got busted, but are we thinking, maybe it had Gusto's blood on it at some point?
Anyone whose blood was found on one of the lamps would have been a person of interest to the police, so the killer needed to hide the blood somehow, and in a way that wouldn't arouse suspicion.
Are you seriously suggesting that the lawyer was used to do just that?
I am. I suspect that the bloody salt was somehow applied to the lyre so that it could be hidden inside the case. Because unlike the fountain water, the sculptures would have needed more time and care to test properly. And so he waited, and waited, and waited, and waited, and waited for his chance to dispose of the lyre undetected. Undetected.
Then the reason he's here today is...
18 years ago, Mr. Frost's body and the evidence pointing to his killer were taken away together. This, of course, was not part of the perpetrator's plan, and thus, a new dilemma arose. How could he be sure that neither Mr. Frost's body nor the evidence wouldn't be discovered someday?
So back he comes 18 years later, sneaking in bright and early to try and cover his tracks. Oh.
Well, Mr. Gusto, are you finally ready to admit defeat? That you are the one responsible for the ISIS incident?
Oh.
Mr. Gusto, it's all because of you that Samson...
Oh, yeah.
Why do they always do this?
Yeah, your guess is as good as mine. So I finally got caught, huh? All these years later. Nobody came close back then, not even the big shot prosecutor or the attorney. That's some impressive work, Mr. Prosecutor of the present. I have to hand it to you.
You admit it then, that you murdered Artie Frost.
Sure I do. I did it. I killed him. But he only had himself to blame.
What do you mean by that?
He agreed to help me. We were supposed to help each other, so that one of us could win. A gentleman's agreement, and whoever won was supposed to let the other use the cookbook. But on the day of the final, the rat finally showed his true colors. Seriously, Frost, we had a deal.
Sorry, I'm not helping you in the final. Our little agreement is over, Gusto. Yeah.
But I helped you. I spent all day yesterday making the ice for your pieces.
Did you? Oh, and can you prove that? Can you?
What you? Wait. You were planning to betray me from the start, weren't you? You and your very high voice. After Frost double-crossed me, I had to make my piece for the final by myself. And like you said, my son wasn't there, so I didn't have any help with the flavor either.
So much for the pride you claim to have in your ability to make delicious desserts.
Go ahead and judge. You have no idea what it was like for someone like me to lose my sense of taste. I give up everything to become the best, like no one ever was. Everything, I take pride in that. Something someone like you could never even hope to understand.
You're right, I don't understand. Do you take pride in the fact that you resorted to murder? Or that you abandoned your son? Or that you stole your friend's son? Why would I want to understand someone who could do such things?
A man can't afford to rely on other people. You have to learn that at a hard age. That is why little Timmy got sent away. My son never showed up on the day of the final. And in hindsight, I wouldn't be surprised if Frost was the reason why.
Well, why would you think that? What exactly happened to your son?
How am I supposed to know? I told you. He is none of my concern anymore. And according to you guys, nobody knows where he is now either.
And you don't care? Wow, you're horrible.
I have a feeling we're going to find the son in his different case.
So with his disappearance,
Different suitcase?
so too went your chances of winning, correct?
I mean, it's 5 cases. The game is made up of 5 cases. We're on number 3. I bet you he comes up in 4 or 5.
Yeah, I had to find another way to get my hands on that book. That's when inspiration struck. Why win legitimately when you could simply murder? So I decided to skip afternoon tea, which I despise regardless, and sneak into the room. It should be easy. It should have been so easy. All I had to do was photograph the formulas I needed to get out of there. But then, Frost showed up.
Yeah, I thought I might find you here. Stealing recipes from a famous cookbook, huh? Tut tut tut.
Frost.
Gusto. What's this? A cure for taste disorders? Oh no, that's just too tragic. A confectioner who can't taste anything. Wow, what will people say? It's almost like a music composer that can't hear.
You have seen too much. I cannot possibly allow you to leave. Oh.
You what? You can't even hit me, you miserable worm.
Why, you... Frost shoved me hard when I went to punch him. It completely caught me off guard that knocked me clean off of my feet. I crashed into one of the lamps. It must have been with my blood got on it.
So Mr. Frost wasn't the first to get hurt.
When it was all over, I realized I had to get rid of that blood somehow, so I scraped off the bloodied bits. I dissolved those salt shavings in some flavored ice mixture and brushed it all over the harp. And that's how you made the evidence linking you to murder vanish. Frost was good to blackmail me. Or he was going to. It was bad of him, it was not good. He would have made me give him money to keep quiet about my condition.
So you decided you had to kill him and then put your own blood on a harp that somebody's going to eat. This is disgusting.
What other possible plan could I have come up with? That was the simplest and most easy. Why would I let him live? Would you want someone holding something like that over your head? Besides, he's the one who drew the first blood. Makes for a solid case of self-defense, do you not think so?
So that was the impetus behind it all.
Anyways, I initially took the lamp to Frost's room. Went straight there once I figured out how I was going to hide the bloody part. Inspired by all the ass sculpting tools lying around the place, I guess. You're not as dumb as you pretend to be. I figured I could use them to chip it up and grind it up. Why do I think you are dumb? I've only been around for like 10 minutes. Once that was done, painting the stuff all over the harp was easy.
But why, Samson? Why did you have to frame him?
That is right, you have all consumed the blood of Samson. Or Frost. I never meant for the cops to pin it on him. That was your fault. You and the rest of them.
Oh!
Why do you think I went to the trouble of placing the lamps and cloths back in Scone's room?
There's only one reason to plant the murder weapon in the room of another contestant, and that's to cast suspicion on that person.
What? You tried to frame me, Ghosty Pants?
That is correct.
But why? Why pull out me?
I respected Tengroth. He was the best, a true champion. I would never have wanted him to take the fall. But you are a fraud. Your work wasn't even real. You had no respect for our craft at all. You deserve to be punished for what you had done.
Oh, Ghosty. How could you?
I think I just told you how.
And had you refrained from eating Tengroth's work, Frost's body wouldn't have been found. My plan was to wait until Tengroth was judging your room. That's when I'd sneak into the corpse into Frost's room and freeze it. But thanks to you, Bound here found it before I had the chance to retrieve it.
I don't understand. Why did you need to freeze his body at all? How can I make you understand?
Why indeed?
Mr. Edgeworth, surely you must know. Why did Mr. Gusto need to freeze Mr. Frostbody? It wasn't because it was a funny play on words, right?
Obscure the time of death.
Mr. Gusto needed to freeze Mr. Frost's body in order to obscure the time of death. If they determined that the murder occurred during afternoon tea, he would have been an obvious suspect.
Bingo! Freezing Frost's body was not simple. Preparing everything took time. So I decided to put his body in the chest in Tangro's room while I got everything ready in Frost's. At the time, it seemed like the perfect hiding place. Never counted on some gluttonous pharmacist showing up and making the whole ship collapse just by sitting on it.
I still don't get it though. Why disguise the body as an ice sculpture at all?
The sooner it was found, the smaller the effect of freezing it would have had on masking the time of death. Therefore, he needed to disguise it at least until it had fully frozen.
How awful! Using Mr. Frost's own work to help you cover up the truth behind his murder.
Ironically, Tangroth would have been just fine if the body hadn't been found before I got it out of the room. If only things had gone to plan, he wouldn't even have been arrested, let alone convicted.
You mean it was my fault? Everything that happened to Samson, it was all because I found the body!
Don't let him get inside your head there, Judes. None of this is your fault. If it wasn't Samson, it would have been Alicia instead. If it wasn't Alicia, it would have been Gumshoe without a doubt. She would have been the one they arrested. Either way, there's only one person to blame here, and that's Gusto. I didn't help that the initial detective was so bad at his job either. He never even told the prosecutor that the body had vanished. It's like he was on my team.
So then Mr. Von Carme had unwittingly placed Mr. Tangroth under arrest in the absence of a body.
I mean, I guess it would explain why he was so keen to wrap things up. Still, you'd think he'd notice something as big as that if he'd taken a look at a few reports, right?
Not if someone had been deliberately distorting the facts of the case, though. Either way, it seems that Mr. Von Carme didn't know about the body until after the arrest had been made. But admitting that would have spoiled his perfect record. So he kept it to himself and proceeded to prosecute Mr. Tangroth, regardless.
Can this really be true?
What?
You don't feel bad at all? Somebody spent 18 years in prison because of you.
Sticks and stones, girly. Sticks and stones.
What a jerk! I ought to arrest you right now, pal!
I'm afraid I can't allow you to do that, detective.
So, you noticed, huh? I'm glad somebody did. The judge is right. You can't lay a finger on me.
What? Why? He literally just confessed to murder.
No idea, huh? Then I guess I'd better lay it out for you.
Alright, so spoilers. This is the last one, but then there's a huge epilogue dump afterward.
We have 8 minutes.
I think we have to stop it then. This is a good place to just end it.
Yeah.
Why you cannot arrest me? Find out next time.
On Dragon Ball
Why?
Z.
Why you cannot arrest me? Skill issue.
Get good.
Do you think his head of hair above the hat is hat-shaped?
Yes.
Or there's no hair there.
It's a cylinder of hair. Completely packed full. Alrighty. Well, this was a nice little short stream.
Yup.
We'll be back again tomorrow. We'll wrap this chapter up and move on to chapter 4 of 5. So
Do we know what time
something.
tomorrow?
Yeah, time.
It should be 11 to 5, right?
Okay, works for me.
Cool,
Yeah,
cool.
I think we're doing the regular time. That should be good. Yeah, so we'll see you guys 11 to 5. We'll be doing the meme competition. Yours truly, Calon Z, will be the judge. So get some Calon's memes in there.
Calon memes.
Calon memes. In the meanwhile, I don't know, maybe check our Discord link in the description. You can get ready for the meme competition, and you can, I don't know, check out, I don't know, let's say like just some random channel, like maybe, I don't know, the Theories channel. You can check out the Theories channel. That seems like a good channel to look at.
The Theories channel.
Yeah, that's a neat one. Yeah, that's it, guys. We will see you tomorrow, and have a great night.
Yep, bye guys.
Yep, bye.
Watch out, folks.